It's
Yeah,
delightful.
that's it. Yeah, that's this whole story there that we don't need to go into. And then I guess the rest of the day has just been bashing and in between, like monitoring my screen. I'm going and like putting Christmas decorations away and all of that. So I have managed by myself to put away the Christmas tree completely, all of the lights and decorations from it, and all of the just miscellaneous decorations in the house. I'm quite proud of myself because I am very short. I am like
Hmm.
probably the shortest person that frankly. I'm like 4'9" and some change. So I'm very short. So I'm so proud of myself.
Well, good
Definitely can't
job.
do the Christmas lights outside. I am not touching that shit. But I managed all the stuff inside. I'm so happy.
Good job. Well done.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And how has your day been? I assume you were at
well,
work earlier.
well, you see, here in West Virginia, today was our last day before the 3-day holiday weekend here. And as state employees, we had a half a day, which meant 4 hours.
Nice.
Um, at the DMV, they're lining up outside the gate at 7:30, and we open at 8. And so we, basically shoved 8 hours of work into 4 hours. And then that also means that the driver tests and the permit tests, all of it, get cut off at 11, right?
Yeah.
Well, there's a lot of people didn't like that.
Oh no, I'm sure it's always that way in the service industry. It's like people don't comprehend for some reason that you're also a human being and you
Right.
deserve to have some time off. So they all just freak out and are like, "Why are you guys closing early?" It's like,
Yeah.
"Cause it's a fucking holiday.
Yeah.
Sorry." And
But
yes, I'm going to. If my language needs to be less
no,
sweary, let me know.
it's fine.
Okay,
And also it looks like we just have one person viewing
that
right
might
now.
be just
So
me, honestly.
it's okay though. We're just having fun today, and it's all good. I'm bashing Takana Island while we're doing this, so it's kind of
Yeah,
fun.
I see your screen. I
Yeah.
thought about also doing some streaming while we were talking to just show what I'm doing on my end, but you know what? I'm going to be lazy and just not. So
Okay.
instead, I'm also bashing. But right now, I am in Albados killing some basilisks.
Right.
Basilisks. I have gotten probably 28 mil today,
Dang.
maybe. And I'm trying to figure out. It's like, where am I on my chocolates? I've been running them for 3.5, and before that, I had an hour. So that's probably 4 to 5 hours worth of bashing I've done.
Well, thankfully, when I got home and started here, the whole island was respawned. Nobody's been doing it today, I guess, so that was cool.
No, Tiani had been, but maybe she's logged off by now. I know I had knifed it and killed it, so it's probably respawned since I did vortex real quick and then came back to my normal route. So
Yeah.
yeah, probably just respawned in between. But she's totally been rocking bashing areas all day today too since I got on,
Well, that's
and
good.
she was definitely just chilling there a lot.
Yeah. I just leveled while we were talking a little bit ago, so I'm
Oh,
at
nice.
164 now.
Woohoo!
Yeah, just another 7.5 billion to go.
Yeah.
That's what
It's
it
like I've
is too. I
got
did the math.
It's like, let's see, I have 65, if I'm doing the math correctly. No, 75? No, 60. Yeah, 65 million left to go to get to level 192,
Jeez.
which is fine. I mean, I'm going to slowly but surely get there. It's just going to be a matter of maybe I'll get to 193 and then I'll go to Disney and come back and finish.
Well, there you go. You'll be refreshed and ready to go.
Yeah, one would hope at least. Oh no, it's my okay. Sorry, I'm actually I'm trying to
Oh
order
no.
Starbucks, and I was like, oh no, is my location going to be closed? No, it's not closed. Fantastic.
Apparently, I used all my knives already and didn't realize it. I thought I had one left, but that's okay.
Oh no,
Now
I
it's
think
time to
I
go
might.
interrupt all of you and run around in the other bashing areas.
Oh well, Almond is out.
Uh huh.
And I haven't really seen anyone else in a while, so it may not be that many. Or wait, was Kurik out? I don't know. There was at least a couple of people, so it's not that bad. It's not as bad as it can be. So you
Hmm.
should still be able to find something.
I'll probably go
Um,
to Eftel Island because I don't usually see a lot of people do it, and I made a Sunder bashing path for it for myself
Yeah.
a
Yeah,
while
it's like
back.
I have a route. But yeah, I don't do it just because I don't feel like dealing with the boat and it's not on my translocator, so fuck it.
Well, I don't have a translocator, but I do have one of those oars we got from the event that makes the ferries go faster.
Oh, nice. I missed
Yeah.
out on that because I don't. That was during the boat campaign thing, right?
I think so, yeah. Yes,
Yep,
I
I
think
missed it.
that was actually for the Midnight Serpent rewards, is what it was.
Yeah, yeah, I totally missed that during my wonderful pouting session that I took for a month.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry you were
It's
pouting.
okay. It's okay. I needed it. It was good for me. It's probably let me save some money, so it's all good.
There you go.
Would have been
Are you
already
still pouting?
200 though.
Oh,
No,
okay.
no, no. I'm not pouting anymore. I'm good.
Okay.
I pissy because of the when I realized, oh crap, I've been leveling and I'm not gonna get anything special for it. That sucks. But now I'm kind of just cool with it. Get it done. It'll be good.
Yeah, I mean, it would always be nice to be the first one to do the city ones and stuff like that, but I think the neutral ones are not bad either. I think from the way it sounds like the adherent one is really cool. I like the idea of tying it to a god and stuff. That'll probably what I end up getting if I get 200.
I've been debating it. At first, I thought I'd do adherent, but Ririn, I'm gonna be tongue tied today. Rin has kind of flopped around and just really doesn't know what divine suits because Demario doesn't.
Aw.
Um, that she just doesn't really have anyone. I mean, she's trying to follow Hearn, but it's not a definite thing at this point because it's early on into that. So I don't know if it would fit unless I end up actually having her settle down and find a god that actually works for her role play.
Mhm.
Um, so I was starting to lean more towards actually the one that Illidan had because I just like the idea of being that connected to Dendara and stuff. It sounds pretty awesome.
Well, there you
And
go.
if it's not that, then I may lean towards the one Valerie got because who doesn't want to be a star person?
A star person.
A star person. I
Mhm.
do still want to see what Sizabor is going to come up with for his neutral one.
Uh-huh.
Because that sounds like it's going to be might end up being pretty interesting. Never know. And I guess either Jezrith or Izia will end up being the first Enorian one.
Yeah.
Because Izia started to get back to it. She got 194 yesterday,
Yeah.
but we'll have to see if she actually, can manage keep at it.
And not
Girl's got
die
to get it done.
and not die repeatedly and lose the level.
Well, she did die a few times, but then she still managed to get it.
Oh, there you
So
go.
I've got faith. Now, poor Tiani, she's definitely trying to go for Spine's Reach, so she's probably going to be good unless Fezzik or Trakal decide to come back. But she's definitely been having some issues with dying. I feel bad for her. I'm like, ooh, I just did that recently during the war. I went ahead and or post war, I had a bounty on my head. So I was like, Dorif, I don't feel like giving Neos my bounty. Please kill me. I'm tired of dealing with him. So I let him kill me, and I just watched the percent tick down. I'm like, oh, that hurts. Oh,
I
that
might
hurts.
die
That's
here.
so much
Yep.
XP.
I'm dead.
Oh, it's fine.
It's the stupid like F-tail guards that like team up on you and shit and you just can't stand up and then they destroy you. It's pretty annoying. I even had
Hmm.
pre-restore and I still died.
Hmm.
Oh
That
well.
sucks.
I don't Oh, I lost my level. That's great. What
Well, you just had gotten it, so
yeah.
you can get it back. It'll be fine.
Yeah, it'll be fine. At least I have a soul stone, so I'm losing less experience, I guess.
Yes, you are. Let me tell you, the difference is like at my level, it's supposed to be 2%. It ends up with the soul stone. I think we figured out being like 1.3% if you have it maxed out. So that is a substantial difference.
Yeah, I got a free level 1 one from one of the promos last month or whatever and I was like that's actually pretty cool cuz I didn't even know it existed. So,
Jeez. I've had that. I've had up to level 2. I end up with most of my artifacts. I buy up to level 2. I can't rationalize usually getting level 3 because it's not that much of a boost once you get to that point. Oh, it's 1 point. It's a tiny little jump up. Um, but I'm like, you know what? This is starting to hurt really bad at this level. Fuck it. I'll go ahead and get level 3 and just have that tiny little bit more extra that is not being lost when I die.
yeah, you told me that before about you just like getting level 2 of stuff.
Yeah, and I mean, it makes sense. It's very while I'm a spendy, it's very frugal, right? Supposedly,
Frugal.
maybe.
Yeah, there's some things that I only have level 2 of, but as far as offensive things, I usually like to get level 3. I'm a weirdo like that. I like having max damage and max speed and stuff like that.
Well, I did finally. I've got Con 3 finally. I got Strength 3. Because I tend to use Zealot and Monk a lot for bashing. I try not to use Shaman so much. And then I have Hunt 3 for Monk for some reason. I don't think I ended up getting it for Zealot though, if I'm looking here. Yeah, why didn't I get it for Zealot? My dumbass didn't get it for Zealot. And I got Enemy Expand 3 for when I'm in Shaman, just because I need a shit ton of enemies for my groviness.
Grooviness.
Groviness.
Grooviness. Groviness?
Grooviness.
Let's see here. I'm going to go to other places that aren't FTEL because it was bashed out anyway, and then I died to 2 mobs that locked me down on the ground.
Well, it's a solid plan. It's a solid,
Yeah,
solid
yeah.
plan. Okay.
Probably won't be anything else up, but I'll check anyway.
Uh, I mean, things should be starting to repop. Most of the zones are at like a 30-minute timer these days versus being at the hour long that they used to be.
Mm-hmm.
So, yes, it's not that bad.
Well, it looks like there's some stuff in Luzeth's lair here. So
Yeah,
kill some spiders and get some venom sacs while we're at it.
I avoid that one a lot because I don't actually need the venom sacs usually. What I need is often just the damn oils for doing apothecary.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no point in me doing the spiders because I don't need their damn sacs.
Oh, there you go.
True fact, and I know this is being streamed. You know that how many people say that Luzith is apparently related to Iosine,
Oh yeah.
and they are wrong.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, just so wrong, so wrong.
I'd never heard that. Well, I don't really follow like shadow lore much anymore, but I know
It's not even a.
there's
It's
some
not
kind
even
of mob in
shadow lore.
the there's some kind of big spider in the Black Keep though that is related to Iosine, isn't it?
Yes, yes, that one is related to Iosine and Chakrazul. That's Lazuth or whatever the name
Yeah.
is. So I get the confusion, but yeah, Luzith is actually
Yeah.
not related in any way to that one or anything related to anything Shadow. Is actually spirit related,
Well, there you go.
and no one will know because spoilers. That will probably never come out. That
I
was one
wish.
of my things when I was trying to like flesh out the Three Widows zone or whatever.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Wrote a whole story about it. It was fun times.
I really liked whenever back in the day when Shattered Vortex came out. I really enjoyed the release of that, and I actually enjoy the lore behind that. And I wish there was more done with it. It just seems like it's been kind of ignored for the last 10 years.
It's been 10 years.
Well, 6
Jeez.
or 7, something like that.
How many has it been? I guess it has been 6 years because I has been 6.5 now. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a pretty long time. I would think I was still pregnant when I did that release. I think. Maybe.
I think it was about 5 or 6 years ago when it came out because I remember when I had that character and when it came out and I was running the Endurani at the time and stuff. It was about 5 years ago because I used to go over to Calidora's house all the time and hang out with her
Hmm.
back then.
Yeah, that event was actually a lot of fun, but it frustrated me because and it's a thing that has always frustrated me with events that go on is characters just want it to be black and white. They never want it to be gray, so you have to make a decision for your character. They just want you to tell you, okay, this is where your side's supposed to be. This is where your side's supposed to be. There's no gray. There's no, question of what you should be siding with. And there was so much gray in that. There's been several events like in recent years. I love them when they have that gray because you have to really think, okay, would my character accept what is going on? What would they do versus just looking at the tethers? Okay, this is spirit side, this is shadow side, yay, that sort of thing.
Hmm.
So that was like the biggest complaint people gave me as feedback was that, it's no clear objective for me. I'm like, yeah, there is. Make a decision for your character. It's like there's clearly a bad guy, and there's clearly I guess they're a good guy. And even the bad guys should have hated the bad guys, realistically.
Right. Yeah, I just I love how the faction system worked in that area and the like I know some people don't like the slog of grinding for things like that sometimes, but I actually didn't mind it, and I thought the rewards were pretty cool. I like that it's like it's one of the few areas, if the only area I can think of where you can buy resets for it, which I think is really fascinating. I did that quite a
Actually,
bit during the Great Hunt with that
yeah,
area.
that was one of those zones where we had thought of doing even more, potential artifacts and stuff, but because it wasn't being done in other zones, it didn't make much sense to do too many. So I managed to sneak in the reset one, which was
Yeah,
nice.
yeah,
It's
it
a
was
high
cool.
cost, but it's
Yes.
it's handy.
Well, I will say that like it was good to try. It was a good thing to use to try and do better in the Great Hunt. But
Mhm.
like as far as like gold versus experience for it, I've done math on it, and like if I was when I had 15 million gold saved up before the auction, I did the math. I was like, what if I bought as many resets and vortex as I could buy with 15 million gold, right? I did
Yeah.
that math, and like the math on needing to hit level 200 from where I was at the time was 7.9 billion. And I
Mhm.
think using 15 million gold would have got me like 2 billion experience or something like that.
Yeah.
So like, I was almost like I felt like I almost had like a good idea there. I was like, what if I just spent all my gold to level? And then I was like, oh, it's not even going to get me halfway there. So,
No, no. It's definitely not. It wasn't a thing to make it worth it unless you were really trying to grind out the rep or trying to, like with the Great Hunt, get a certain amount of bodies and that sort of thing. It was better, definitely better and intended for that. Though, if you got the writ um, from
I've heard of
the
that, but I
sect,
don't. Yeah, I've heard of that, but I don't do sex, unfortunately.
yeah, I don't either, but that was kind of like thought in the process is if
Right.
you go the full thing, you can get the writ and you get even more XP. So it did kind of balance out with the writ, but it definitely was more to let people be able to grind out the faction rep just a little bit faster if they had the gold to spend and kind of try to be some sort of gold sink, but it never panned out as a really good gold sink for people.
Yeah. It's okay though. It's not like they can't go back and look at it again. I mean, I'm
Yeah,
sure Ictennis could put it on the list if enough people wanted it on the list.
and too few people bother with that zone, so they probably won't add it to the list.
I don't know. I thought it was a really cool zone and still is, but
Well, thank you.
just like Delve. Delve's pretty cool, huh?
It is.
I helped with Delve a little bit. I don't even remember what I helped with it. I know that I built the elevator that everybody uses.
Mhm.
I did that. That was one of the
Nice.
things. I don't know if it ended up staying the way I made it originally, but I was challenged at the time by one of them to be like, "Okay, you want to help here make this elevator?" And then I had to figure it out on my own.
Nice. I can't think of any like super duper complicated things that I ever had to prog. I think some of them were related to events and like event tracking, but I
Right.
don't think I ended up doing anything terribly complicated. Oh, except for actually the Philwort fight. That one was a pain in the
Okay.
ass. Thank you for the drink, Joe. You can't see me. I'm obviously not on camera, but I
Yeah.
now have my delicious, delicious Starbucks. Oh,
So on Aetolia, the last few months before I stopped the volunteering when I was playing a god back then, uh, one of the ideas that I had put forward that I did not get to build and execute before I stopped doing it was the haunted house. Uh,
oh yeah.
I actually had the idea for that. Like I had a whole slew of ideas, and I don't think it ended up being out like panning out how I ideated it, but it's really cool to see like some of the ideas I've had on both Empyrean and Aetolia over the years that like I put in wiki and had ideas for ended up making it into the game even after I stopped volunteering, you know?
Yeah,
I always like that. I think that's cool.
I agree. I don't think that I've had anything really happen besides it like if I've come back up because I did go up back up a couple of times.
Yeah.
Not for as long, but I did.
I
All
I've
right.
I've thought about it in recent times, but I'm like, I feel like there's so many times where I wish I could just help them in general, like I want to help. But
Mhm.
like I also think that I've also done enough over the years, already. So it's like
Yeah.
And I also, I'm pretty good at helping my fellow player. I'm kind of important to Norian. So it's like I probably am better to just keep playing if if I had to guess. But I still wish I could do some of that stuff again. It was fun.
Yeah, I definitely, especially when I was looking at just taking that break that I took. I definitely wanted to go back up. I still probably would, but I do have to consider the fact that I've spent way too much money at
Yeah,
this
that
point.
that always takes. I've never spent more money on any character on any game than I have on this one, on this character.
Same
So
here. Like where I'm sitting right now, we're 15,000.
yeah,
It makes me somewhat sad. Um, but the other thing is now because of Aze's, got things going on and whatever, it took the guild over. So with us only having like 4 people in the guild actively,
right,
I realized, I can't go quitting again. I can't go just disappearing. It was bad
right.
enough that I did it when I did it. I feel like we lost some of our momentum because I did. Um, so yeah, I'm not, if it does come up, I'm not gonna try to just because there's not really anyone else to do it. I mean, A's
Yeah,
could, but she's got enough going on that I don't want her to have to deal with that, you know?
yeah, yeah. It's like, and again, like the way I feel about it is like I really want to help and I really would love to do that again, but it's like I feel like I've already done it already. Like
Yeah.
it's like they can make do without me. That's kind of the way I feel about it.
They will survive.
Yeah.
Hey, hey.
Hey, hey, hey. Man, everything's gone. Let's go to the volcano.
Oh God, good luck with that. I
I,
just used one of my knives on Takana, so I'm trying to.
oh, you did. You should have told me. I'm coming.
I'm
No,
you
I'm just
come to
kidding.
my island, I will go PK you. I will go
Bring it.
PK you right now.
Bring it.
I'm in Zealot, so I won't die, but I don't know that I can kill you either.
Yeah, that's usually how it ends up. You go for my arms and then I just walk away, and if you go for my legs and then I just parry a bunch.
Oh, I would just try to damage kill you, which would basically be a lot of bleeding. So
I see.
yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm
There's
gonna.
there's there's no attempt at actually running something interesting. I do have one with Pendulum that I play around with sometimes, and it's mostly to screw with people because so many systems don't actually handle it very well. Sunder does now, unfortunately, but some of the other ones don't. So it's really funny to just fuck around with people.
Yeah,
Here, let me spin where your damage is. Da-da-da-da.
I'm over here auto bashing the volcano.
Oh God, I'm just waiting for you to die.
I probably will soon. Don't worry. I'm gonna
I'll
stop
I'll
auto
make some
bashing it
sound.
and
I
try
was
to.
gonna say I'll make some sound
There we
effects
go.
for you. Oh hey Ceramus.
Uh oh.
Sun kick plus Psy shock. Oddly enough, I still haven't done anything with Psy shock in mind, but I heard some people talking about it recently, so I think I'm gonna have to go reevaluate. What the hell? Oh, you're changing a light bulb. I'm looking down the hallway. I've got this clear view where I can like see where my husband is right now, and he
Mm.
just randomly was on a footstool. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Oh no.
And yeah, he's just changing a light bulb. They're so high up. That's the one thing I get tired of is vaulted ceilings everywhere. It's like, God, I already feel short enough. Now this house feels like it's a house for giants.
Goodness. A
And
house
I'm
for
I am very
giants.
hyper. I'm sorry. I've got like a shit ton of energy, so I'm very
It's okay.
over chatty. Over chatty.
Yes. Yes. Welcome, Seremus.
Welcome to the Eric's and I guess you have me as Ortini on here. So,
Yeah.
you know, at Zortania party. We're having a blast bashing. It's so entertaining.
Yeah. We're just derping around, talking and bashing and stuff. I almost half expect Seremus to stream snipe me like everybody else and try to come kill me for no reason.
About to say, do you have aura anymore?
No, I
Then
don't have
why would
anything.
anyone come attack you? You don't have a
I don't know.
bounty.
I don't know why Aline did it when she did.
Well, you still had stuff on you, like war
Did I?
stuff going on. Yeah, 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 yeah.
Oh no, I might die here. No, don't die.
Uh oh,
Don't
don't
die.
die, don't
Ah!
die!
I didn't die.
Ah! Oh, woo,
I'm still
you
might
got
though.
really low.
Run. I gotta run.
Flee.
Ah. It's gonna come in here, but I'm okay now. So, okay. Kill. Kill, kill, kill. Don't die. Come on, credit already, you stupid thing. There you go. And thank goodness I'm the one person in the game that coded absorb into my bashing.
You're not the only one.
I think I might be. Name one other person that uses righteousness absorb while they're bashing.
I thought about
Go.
it back when, well, I had it back when I had Templar before on previous versions of my version of Sunder, but I took it out. But it is pretty handy. Right now, my thing, I have to actually stick to one of the classes I use regularly, so Monk, Shaman, and Zealot, because I have it very particularly coded to use my various artifacts for
Right.
different things. So that's why I don't actually use any other classes, is I don't want to have to recode the bashing thing for it. I'm lazy.
It's okay. Me too.
It's
I'm
like,
just using Templar because it's the fastest class I have. Because it's the
well,
DPS is pretty insane, to be honest.
that is true. I was going to actually pick up Warden this morning, even though I've been avoiding it very, very, very tactically.
Yeah.
Because my chocolates finally ran out. So I'm like, you know what? I got a break. I could go learn. I could do this. I could finally pick up Warden and just use it to bash instead. And then no one could give it to me. I was like, fuck. Fine.
Yeah, I already played Carnifex when I played Shadow last time. Like I played the class. I was never
Oh
in the
yeah,
guild,
no.
but it's not a I did not end up liking it back then as much as I thought I would. So I've just avoided it now that we have it too. I don't really like it that much, to be honest. I know it's honestly super OP and bashing. Like it's not even close. It's pretty insane how good it is, but like I would rather play Templar because I'm already used to it.
Yeah, and that's part of why I had stuck with Zealot and the other classes that I have is because, yeah, I've played Carnifex so many times from however many times I've retired, unfortunately, that I was like, yeah, I don't need it again. But honestly, it's been tempting lately to be like, you know what? I remember the damage, the DPS. It was
Yeah.
pretty amazing. So I might end up doing it. Are you coming in here to put in light bulbs or are you going in the bathroom? Well, he's very close by. That's the worst part about streaming when you're not on camera is people can't actually see what's going on. Um, so I'm
Funny.
just randomly talking because I don't feel like trying to like. Do I even have a mute thing that's easy to reach on my microphone?
It's
I wonder. I'm
okay. You
trying to like
don't
check.
you don't need to mute yourself. I just think it's funny. You just like you can go from like total conversation about this and just not even stop and go straight into light bulbs. It's pretty funny.
Well, this is honestly, I work from home and I am on Zoom calls most days, the entire day, be it between being with like my actual people I'm managing, internal teams, whatever, occasionally clients. Luckily, not often that clients. So I am very in use to switching gears quickly like that. Like I'm just, it's part of my normal everyday because he also is working from home still most of
Yeah.
the time. Um, so yeah, I'm just used to it and be like, oh, I got to take and address that real quick. Okay, and now I'm back on the call. Hi, how you doing?
I
That's
was
usually the approach when I'm on camera. It's like, oh yeah, by the way, sorry about that. How you doing?
we had 4 days at the DMV this week, and I had to do the front info desk at the past 2 days, and I hate doing that front info desk. It's like
Yeah.
because it reminds me of all the bad jobs I've had before where they're both physically and mentally stressful at the same time, you know? And I
Yep.
kind of signed up for the DMV so I could get, just be mentally stressed and not physically too. And having to stand on your feet for like all day is annoying. And it's like, and then on top of that, people are up there and you're like telling them the truth and like what they need or this or that. And they're always like trying to tell you that you're wrong even though you work there. And it's very frustrating. But I'm glad it's over now.
Yes. Well, that's good. I am happy for you.
I will say I put on a good face though. I don't ever say these sorts of things in front of them, nor do I get mad at people or anything. I'm pretty good about keeping it keeping it good, but
Keeping
it's
keeping that rage inside.
yeah, yeah, keeping it for Seremus when we fight.
All right. I'm actually going to go ahead and also turn on my streaming because why
Okay,
not?
you do it,
There we go.
do it.
Do, do, do.
I'm still bashing the
Yay.
volcano. I have not died yet, thankfully. There's some random shadow person I've never heard of in here too.
Oh, really? Who is it?
Inoj, Ninoj.
NIOJ.
Or
Playing Magic.
INOJ, I'm sorry.
Oh, they've been around for a while, but they kind of come and go.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know if they actually interact with people very much or more just come on, do milestones and kind of poof.
Right.
Yeah, because I'm seeing no, they're not part of the sect or anything, so I don't know. I
Yeah.
don't know what they do.
Bash the volcano, apparently.
Apparently.
Sometimes you just gotta bash the most dangerous area in the game.
Yeah, I don't know if that's the most dangerous place in the game. Oop.
I feel
Oh
like I
well.
have to manual it more than often. Personally.
Yeah, that is true.
Because
I'm
like
trying to think of what would be.
if you get in a room with more than like one thing attacking you in volcano, you're probably dead.
I
Yeah.
would actually contest that that is the most difficult area. I think that Welto Trench, which
Oh,
I fervently avoid because of the amount of aggro's there, I would say that that one is a little bit worse because you have the animals that do the writhing and shit,
yeah,
that web you and everything or impale you, and they do it in mass. So yeah, that one's
yeah.
worse.
That's fine too. Because I've actually only been there one time and I've never went back since. So that's probably true.
I should go back and try it again, but I don't want to die. I
Exactly.
avoid a lot of areas just because I'm like, is it worth me trying to die? Not so much. I already had that death. I can just deal with my limited bashing areas. It'll be okay.
Yeah.
It'll be okay.
There's more than enough, bashing areas to where you can pick and choose, essentially.
Usually. It does sometimes get pretty stale some days. So
Yeah.
yesterday was one of those days. That is for sure. There were way too many damn people that were bashing. It was bad. That's why I was glad I had been able to have. I had 12 globes
Yeah.
on me, and I mean, I felt like being a nice person, so I semi wish I hadn't have done what I did, but I bashed someone up. But they're a new player, pretty cool, been fun to like chat with everything. I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna get you to end game. Just come on, just come stand with me. It's fine.
Yeah.
And just went and mowed through 12 of them, and then took them on to Kana until they finished out.
Oh man. These glowing lava demons and their resistance to cutting. Very annoying.
They just gonna nom you. Nom nom nom.
Nah, I'm good.
I swear I sound like I'm drunk, don't I?
No. I
I
was
feel like
gonna
I
s-
sound like it.
I was gonna say I was thinking about it. I'd never told you yet. So you remember that quest that you can do in the Order of Ethne to get the Killing mount, the Kieran
Oh yeah,
mount?
yeah. The Quillen or whatever.
Yeah.
I never pronounced it well, but yeah, of course I know what that is. I made it.
Right. Well, I figured
Yeah.
that's why I was so. I was, obviously I quit that order eventually, and but I still had that mount, and I used it a lot. I actually lost that mount, and I can't do the quest again because I'm not in the order. And it was from the bandits in Albados that kill NPCs. They
Oh
killed my damn mount
no.
months
Oh,
ago.
you got to learn how to bit.
Yeah, I should have, but I never thought it would come up. Like I just,
Well, rip.
yeah, made me sad. But that's life.
What does that have to do with drinking, though?
No, I was thinking of things I hadn't told you yet. I'm trying to
Oh,
bring up things to talk about so we can be entertaining.
got you, got you. Okay.
But we could talk
Well,
about drinking. I mean, we talked about it, I think, in the web the other night.
probably. Probably, yeah, because I was talking about the moonshine drink
Yeah.
that I got.
And
Yeah.
and how I'm a giant nerd that doesn't like drink really, basically.
I mean, you're not a giant nerd because you don't drink. If you don't drink, that's cool. I, on the other hand, just enjoy a drink occasionally because I can't have weed in my state. So, what option do I have? I have alcohol. I don't drink it a ton. It's probably maybe a couple times a month. I have something 1 day a week, maybe 2 days a week. This is obviously a month where I'm on vacation. I'm enjoying it a little bit more than usual. But yeah, I'm not that big of a drinker either.
Okay. Well,
But
Sarimus asks in chat, how rude is killing mounts on a scale of 1 to 10?
oh god, oh god.
I'm probably
I'm gonna.
biased because I've done that before on other games. I've also done it in Aetolia. Not very often. But if I see somebody's mount and they're in shadow on if I see their mount in fracture, I'll probably kill it. Uh
Yeah, this is one of
it
those
also
things
depends on the
where
person.
Yeah, this is one of those things where it used to be law, so I have done it before. Like, especially back in Bloodlock, where we're like, oh, fuck you guys. You can't have your mounts out. You got to put
Right.
them up. And, made asinine rules about it. And I came to realize, why the fuck do we have laws about this? This is ignorant. So I stopped doing it. So I would say if it's a not a whistle mount, if it's a credit mount or something, one of the ones that or any of the ones that cannot be replaced, it is absolutely a dick move. I don't mind so much if it's a donkey or a mare, one of those cheap ass ones. That's okay. You can replace it pretty easily. Um, but one of the ones that's a little bit pricier, yeah, fuck you. Don't kill the mount. That's just rude. Um, and I have had people do it before. They've done it usually accidentally. And it's an inconvenience. And maybe you have some RP where you have a bond with that mount. Totally get it. So you can have some like emotional reason to do what Ceramus is saying and pick a fight and all of that afterwards. Um, but yeah, I mean, if it's a cheap one, whatever. Go replace it. If it's like 5,000 gold, that's a couple of quests. That's like a 30 minutes to an hour of ratting. Go get your gold back and go replace it.
Well, there's been times recently too where I've lost my mount inside of the mines, like when I forget to leave it behind and like I let off I let off a fuse bomb and it dies or something.
Oh.
But it actually, for whatever reason, I have no idea why, it comes back to life and
Well,
follows me around again.
if it's a whistle one,
Oh, okay, yeah, you just said that. Yeah,
yeah, if it's a whistle one,
okay,
those specifically basically come with a bit built in, so they will reset to you. It's kind of like
cool.
having your own custom mount. So yeah, those ones are fine. That's not a big deal. It's just an inconvenience. But if it's one where you can't replace it, where like when it's dead, if it's not a cheap one and it's dead, I think that's completely asinine and dick move. And I still think it is pretty dickish. I would say it's like on a scale of 1 to 10, it's still probably a 5 or a 6 on the dick scale. But it's not the worst thing out there.
Right.
Are there
On
really
a
any
scale of
credit
1 to
mounts you
dick.
can lose? Yeah, with the credit mounts, I actually do think Ceramus, with the ones that you can get from the cities, unless you bit them, they are actually killable, if I remember correctly. So there's one in each city. Like I think Anorian has a griffin. I forget what and Duran has Duran whatever. I can't remember what the other cities have, but there is always one in each city in their stables that is a credit one that I'm pretty certain that you have to bid them and they aren't just automatically, you know, repop like the whistles. The whistles were made specifically to be a special deal. That's why they were made, so that you can easily get them back and everything. There was a new design, so I don't think they had that beforehand. Well, that was
Yeah.
an interesting question. I haven't been asked that besides in Shadow Web. People have asked it before. I'm like, yeah, it's kind of a
Yeah.
dick move, but it could be worse.
Well,
It could be worse.
what's wild is when I played Empyrean. Well, you played it with me back in the day, but
Mm-hmm.
so when I was playing my bad guy character, which I'm sure you remember,
Mm-hmm.
I would even kill. Like when I was even city leader, I would go in my own city, and if you had your pets or mounts out or anything in the streets, we would treat it like it was garbage and kill it on purpose.
Yeah, you were the epitome of dick. Like you
What?
were dick on
What do
top
you
of dick.
mean? I'm an angel.
Bullshit.
Bullshit. What are you talking about?
Bullshit.
Oh my
Yeah,
gosh.
you ain't no angel. That is for sure.
Whatever. I'm a nice
You're
guy.
you're as much an angel as I am, and I am definitely no
You've
angel.
literally got wings in your picture.
That doesn't make my character an angel.
They look like angel wings.
That's valid. I mean, they're fiery wings, and
Yeah.
I think the artist did take a little bit of an interesting interpretation. They're supposed to be more kind of wispy and fiery and kind of ethereal of a sort.
Yeah.
Um, but the description that Demario put on them was very vague, so I don't know exactly what they look like. I gave them a picture of what I was thinking, and it was supposed to be like that.
I see.
Yeah.
Well, I'm bashing my Zanhall instance now. I forgot about
Oh,
that.
that's always a good one. That's always a good one. Let's
Yep.
see, how far am I through Takana? I have 188 corpses, so I'm like a third of the way through it. So let's see. Is there anything else to be told right now?
I don't know. We're
I'm
just
trying to
hanging
think.
out. Seremus is in chat, sneaking around in phase, you know?
Yeah, yeah, being creeper be creepy, you know. Good times, good times.
We can talk about. You might have missed this actually, and you might be amused to hear about it. But
Mm.
speaking of Seremus, they uh they decided to go. Yeah, we do. You're creeping. We
Creeper
we
be
appreciate
creeping.
we appreciate it though. I mean, I have Sisson as well. You know, I creep a lot too. It's fine. But
I
you don't.
I use it for exploring. That's pretty much the only time I ever use Sizzon. It's just when I'm like, fuck it, I can't get in there very easily. I don't want people to kill me. I'm just gonna go phase and go explore, and it works.
I usually use it honestly to kind of because like there's not many classes in the game honestly that can actually like pressure someone as far as like imposing what you want to do regardless of whether they're in their city or not, and like Sisson is one of them. So it's like if I want to go out and kill someone and make a point, I'll play Sisson. So if I want to just like derp around and bash, I'll play Templar. If I want to bash and PK people, maybe solo, I'll play Shapeshifter, that sort of thing. But
Yeah.
what I was gonna say is old Seremus there was messing around with Isid and Ryan and Church and all of them in their mine the other day. Kept going in and out trying to kill him and stuff. It was wild because I was bashing at the time, but we were in the same web, and they kept they kept trying to kill him and kill each other, and they couldn't kill each other, and it was interesting. Learned a lot about how mines work in regards to PK because I hadn't really thought about that because it doesn't come up often. Um, I don't know, and I found out this interesting thing that if you are in the wilderness map, that like the outpost map, um,
Mm-hmm.
for the mines, if you aura protect somebody and they go inside of somebody's mine, you can still pilgrimage to them from outside on the wilderness map. I thought that was I thought that was weird, honestly, but because it feels like if you're down in somebody's specific mine, that should be a different area than the wilderness map. But I don't know. That was kind
Uh,
of cool to learn.
yeah, it's like I think that was it's. I think it might be specifically the mines because I don't remember that working with the farms wilderness
Right?
map.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's intentional or it was like a thing that was like overlooked when it was being designed. But yeah, I just did it for the hell of it because like you can't track to people. So I was like, well, I'm gonna see if I can like aura protect one of them, and I could. And then I just like pilled to them, and it let me, and they were in the mine already. I'm like, wow, that's weird.
Yeah, mines is one of those ones where you can also Volta out and a couple of other things like that that you really I don't think you should have been able to because with the farms, once you're inside the farm, you
Yeah,
you can't do it. When you're outside of it, sure, you can do it then. But once you're inside, yeah, you're stuck. You can't get out with those things. I don't know.
yeah. I remember the time I killed Weir in his farm. Well, I didn't kill him in the farm, but like I tried to attack him in his farm plot. We were inside the farm plot. And I figured that they would get away, so like I attacked him in the farm plot. He started running, and obviously it's hard to like track someone or know where they are inside of those maps and stuff. So
Yeah.
what I did is I just went to the entrance to his farm plot and phased and just typed await. Because I was like,
Oh,
well, I figured,
how mean.
and then I was like, well, he has to come out sometime. And then he did, and then I just followed him automatically, and then he went to Death Caves and went AFK. So
Oh, AFKs at Death Caves.
that guy apparently. I mean, that's okay. I don't. It's not like it was skilled of me to kill somebody AFK, but like I do think that probably don't AFK in a place like Death Caves. Um,
Yeah, no, no, that's not a good plan. I mean, I'm not saying that, people don't do it,
right.
obviously, but you are just asking for trouble by AFK in it at Death Caves or at Wings. If it's your own personal thing, cool. But even the higher level ones, just don't do it. You are asking for someone like Suramus, especially, to come in and just play around with you. I remember Talonbee used to come
Yeah.
in and just randomly. Doesn't matter if you were ally or not. He would go screw with you if you're AFK into some of those spots, just because you know that's Talonbee. That's how he
Yeah.
was.
I miss that guy. Like he was still playing when I took my break, and then I came back and I've not seen him since. I wonder if he quit or what happened to him. But I
He
don't know.
he often takes really long breaks and then comes back, screws around with people for a little while, and then goes away again. There's a lot of players in this game that are like that.
Right.
That's fine. Let them do them. Enjoy the game how they want to.
Yeah. Every time I've ever killed Weirian like that too, they send me an out of character tell afterwards telling me that it was like a well done assassination and stuff like that. When I killed him at Death Caves, he told me that he's like +1 assassination. I was like, well, I
That's it.
told him too. I was like, I'm sure you guys will get me back soon, and they did eventually. So it is what it
Yeah.
is.
Ceramus is asking, I can totally borrow an artifact for that, right?
For
If
what?
it's if you're talking about the artifact for DKs and wings and that sort of thing, absolutely can
Yes,
borrow
you can.
somebody
Yep.
else's. Yeah.
Yep. We've done that before.
Yeah, that's my get people out of different areas card where I will mail it to them or mini pet deliver it and be like, here, just say wear it, say Volta. There you go. Ta-da, you're free.
Yep. I'm in the spiral of the corrupt with its low experience rate, but many mobs.
It's actually not that bad. I'm seeing your experience.
Nah.
Bad.
Nah.
Meh.
I'd rather it be
Eh.
like 10,000 or more.
Now, most stones are not like that. Takana's pretty much the only one that
Because,
gives you those really good games like
listen,
that.
Bacall
Yeah.
Chasm and the Myconids and the Warrens are like that. They usually give me pretty good, like 10,000 or more. But it's
Eh.
okay. It's okay. I understand that there's also more mobs in this area than those areas, so it kind of makes
Yeah,
up for it.
it does. It does. And then it is easier. It's easier
Yes.
to just automate and let it do its thing. So
Yep. I'm enjoying that. I also after everybody told me how hard it is to get to Canna Island compendium pages, I've managed to luck into a couple of them on my own from promos like stockings and the gift bags and stuff you get from doing Iron Beard and all that.
yeah.
Then I bought one for like 30 credits on the auction. So I've managed to get like the Takana criticals and the Takana experience. And it was
Ooh,
like it
reminds me.
yeah. And it just I was amazed that like everybody was like, "Oh man, it's gonna be so hard to get those." I'm like, it was actually pretty easy.
It
but
depends on the time of the year, honestly.
but I tell you, the compendium bonus for any area for criticals is amazing. Like +5, that's huge. That's like level 2.5 criticals for free. Well, not free, but like it just seems easier to get 2 pages for an area than it is to buy like level 2 criticals or whatever.
Yeah.
But
It reminded me though, I was at 10 out of 13, so I just went ahead and unlocked a couple more things on Takana.
well, there you go. I've only got 3, but that's enough for me for now.
Yeah. Most of mine I've just gotten from promos myself. I haven't like bought them from anyone else.
Yeah. I don't buy promos like every month like some people do. Like I literally will wait for like the best ones and stuff like that cuz I just don't have that much extra money to spend on the game.
Yeah. I don't typically buy the ones where it's just general credit, bonuses or
Right.
lessons, those sorts of things, but the big ones that I am a sucker for are wheel, gift backed related ones, but not nearly as much. Chests, definitely. Any of those ones that you have really high chances, but I will tell you the one if you need credits, the biggest bang for your buck is definitely the Valentine's Day one.
Yeah.
I
I would
got so many credits. I think I ended up getting like 5,000 or something. But I also was buying like the highest ranking things.
right.
But yeah, I got like 5,000 credits. I was sitting on a pile for a good while there. I'm sitting on a small one right now that I'm like, what am I going to do with this? And Sid keeps saying, oh, just save it for an artifact auction. I'm like, when is the next damn artifact auction
Well,
going
I
to
mean,
happen?
I think they wanted to do two a year or something. I don't remember, but I
Yeah,
would definitely trust Stick Tennis to actually stick to that. So,
I would too. So maybe then, maybe.
but it'll
But if I
probably
end up
be
picking up
6 months or
Warden,
so, something like that.
yeah, yeah. So I may end up just, using it to pick up Warden and it'll be okay.
Yep.
And get Warden tools and shit and stuff.
I would kind of like to start saving for another class because I honestly I haven't been a big fan of the mirror classes we've got on Spirit so far, but like I would really like to get Spirit Praenomen or Spirit Terradrim. Like those two I think would be good for me. I would probably I know I'm a huge fan of Spirit Praenomen, like just normal Praenomen. I love that
Hmm.
class. I always have, and I miss playing it. But I have no idea how they're gonna like turn Sanguis into like a spirit skill set. Just it's
No,
so it's
it's
so
really
flavorful for like vampires. Like it's really
it's
locked into
really
it.
it's really not that hard because what Sanguis and what vampires are is they're sucking blood to get the spirit out of it. Um, so realistically, if they do some sort of Duwamvi theme thing,
Right.
still could be trying to drain that spirit out to kind of like purify the shadow that is, in the host, something to that effect. Because that's really what a Duwamvi is. It's just
But
a being that is pure spirit that kind of offsets your spirit so that you are mostly spirit and just a teeny tiny bit still of shadow. Um, that could work. And I do think that would end up probably being how they would have to do it because those are kind of the counter to each other as one's, just you're a vampire, you're kind of your
well,
own leech, and then you got a leech inside you.
they've also already admitted that they have to keep blood as the mechanic. That has been said already. Just the way it works and stuff, and the way that, like, basically that they admitted somewhere that they have to use blood if they mirror Praenomen. Which is fascinating to me. But I could see them still making blood work for spirit. But
Yeah,
I
no,
do
that's so easy. It may be kind of cannibalistic, so it may end up having to be something that would go to Duran, so maybe it wouldn't be Duamfi if they have to still go with the blood route specifically.
maybe. But what I was gonna say too is that I mean like when you look at Sanguis as a skill set, there's a lot of that stuff that has to do with siring and bloodlines and stuff. And I wonder how that would translate because me and you used to play vampires for a long time. And you know about all the bloodlines drama and like the titles you have to use or used to have to use. And I just wonder if that'll end up translating well to spirit, or how
I doubt
what that would look like as a spirit thing.
I doubt they would translate that over. I don't see why they would. Honestly, that's one of I know a lot of people like the lore of it and they still stick to it at a theory, but right now, frankly, the mechanics of it and how it all works just sucks. And the reason I'm saying, and this is me, I actually have an alt that I have on Shadow that is in the guild and all of that, is that the way they've limited siren and everything between like obviously top level you get to have four. I get that, that makes sense. And then from the four they each get to have two, and those two get to have more, etc. It just really ends up limiting things because people don't log in that much. Most of the people higher up, so you've and this is a situation in most guilds where it's kind of it's very heavily entrenched in people that have been around for a while and have been playing the game for a while. They keep those higher positions, so it's hard to be able to get any of that higher titling or anything, or even be able to get necessarily a sire that you could RP with. Luckily, they fixed it by allowing you to have Vanessa kind of be your sire, quote unquote, just be, who gives you the blood to make you, be able to be a full vampire. But there's just so much of it that it just needs to be reevaluated. And I mean, this is the perfect opportunity if they start thinking about how they're going to mirror it,
Hmm.
um, to figure out a system that works better. But I do think that they should probably ditch some of that stuff just because of the fact that it doesn't work.
Well, what I
And
mean
most
though is
people
that it's
don't really bother
actually
with it.
as the class though, it's actually part of the skill set. Like in Sanguis, it's like it's a pretty huge part of it already, and it's like I
It's
just
not as big a
wonder.
part anymore. It's not.
Well, it's you type AV
It's still
Sanguis and
it's
there's like
still
a
in there. Yeah,
yeah
it's still in there, but it's not nearly as big of a deal. It's mostly some of it ends up dealing with your actual minion that you're using and that sort of thing. There's a lot less of a focus on what you do with your child, even though you have those capabilities. Um, because they can besides embrace, obviously embrace is going in and doing the embracing business, but some of those others they don't really get used very much. And I think that's actually a good thing. I think that monitoring and willing, some of these other things, though they're great tropes, they all end up being kind of sometimes predatory to some bad extents. I mean, we've heard that over the years of playing this game that a lot of the creepers end up being people that have had the vampire class. They trick someone into letting them be their sire, and then they take full advantage of some of the different capabilities that come with that thing. So I think that they need to reevaluate it a lot for that reason. It's built very much right now to allow some very predatory things that should not be a thing. Even though it's really cool and it has some great role play potential with it, it just it's way too open still. And but luckily they did limit it a lot more than it used to be, so you can't literally make them do things and all this other stuff. And it's easier to sever ties and everything. So
Yeah.
it's better, but there's so much of it that is still just
Yeah.
not
Well,
great.
in the end, I think it'll be interesting to see. I think because this game was kind of, and it still is to me, even though it's less of a thing now. It's like this game was kind of built on the vampire class, like,
Yeah.
and I think we've lost a lot of that in the last few years. Vampires don't seem as important anymore, but maybe that's just because I play Spirit now. But it's just, it would be interesting to see them take another crack at kind of redoing the vampire class if they put it on Spirit as well. And I think that having the Spirit Praenomen class will probably be like real telling of how, like, it's going to be one of the more important ones they do, I think, because of how important vampires are to the game. So it should be interesting to see.
Yeah, it's like I think that it used to be definitely that vampires were the big appeal because we were basically Achaea with vampires.
Right.
Yay. But I do think that our game has evolved to a point where, yeah, vampires are less the focus and it's more a dark and grittier story. And that's more the theme and what people come for is that darker style of role play and
Right.
darker theme to a game versus than just being vampires alone. Because yeah, people that do come for the vampire piece end up often disappointed for a lack of a better way to put it
Yeah.
because of just how it currently is and just the guild itself not being in the greatest position. Now, does that mean that some people don't enjoy it? No, there's actually some really great role players that are in that guild. Like Maeve is fantastic.
Yeah.
Kirill was really a lot of fun. Trying to
I
think of some of the
I
others,
love
but
I love Maeve though. Like I think she's been taking a break for the holidays, but like me and her, like when the last Great Hunt was happening, she happened to
Mhm.
also be in the vortex, and we were just kind of both bashing separate sides, and like I got bored and I started like role playing with her in Tells, and
Yeah.
since then we've kind of kept up with each other a little bit, and she like she has really good writing, like it's pretty phenomenal, and she'll send me like these wild like dream messages. Like she'll message me while I'm at work and like in character and like have it be dreams and stuff. And
Mhm.
it'll just be this massive like novel of like stuff, and I'm just like, wow, this person is awesome. I'm so glad that they actually care that I exist. Like, yeah, it's like it's really cool. And but yeah, there's a lot of cool people like that in the Dominion, but they don't, because they're not like as well known. You don't, like, a lot of people don't think about them too often. Like I loved playing with Calidora all that time. She's not a combatant, but she's really good at role playing and stuff. I thought, but I'm probably
Yeah.
biased because I like her. But
And it's not that I don't like her, but I do think that, and this is a point that Ceramus made, that the role play of the guild got really watered down in recent times, and a lot of that has been things that she has changed and helped push to
right,
change. So the abolishing of slavery, getting away from blood slaves, making sure that they have the choice to be a blood slave and things like that. I get why it was done in a sense, especially considering, out of character thoughts on it, but it's still,
yeah,
a lot of the tropes of being a vampire and having vampires and having a city of, a lot of vampires just kind of went out the window and it lost some of its flair because of
right.
that,
Oh, I
unfortunately.
agree. Like I love her to pieces. She's one of my best friends. We haven't got to hang out in many years in person, but we used to constantly. And she was such a friend to me that when my mom passed away, she came to the service and everything. Like she's a really cool person, but I don't like how she plays a vampire, and I don't like what she's done to the vampires. But I like
Well, I don't even think it's not just her. That's what I'm
yeah,
trying to
oh,
say. Is
I'm
like I
sure
don't
it's not, but like I just don't like, to me, when I knowing what I know about Calidor the character and knowing how she's been played and stuff, it's like I don't understand how the most terrifying person in the game, which should be the leader of all the vampires, is that person, you know? Like
Well,
that
I
well,
could
that
say
character.
that. Yeah, it's like I could say that about a lot of the orgs in this game. I'm looking at them like, why is that person the leader? Because they don't have any other choices and because there's no one to replace them. Um, but it's not saying that, and it's not saying that they're necessarily not doing a
Right.
bad job with the organization itself and trying really hard, and that they're not really they don't. It's not like they don't have the best like hopes for what they're doing,
Mhm.
but unfortunately, just some of it doesn't pan out that well. So yeah, the watered down RP, it wasn't just her; it was other people around her as well. It was just the guild as a whole at the time was really looking to do this, and that's what they wanted to do. And Bloodlock wanted to, and some of the characters too wanted to go that route. So it wasn't just her. So I'm not going to put any blame solely on her shoulders for
Yeah.
any of it. Um, but it did definitely kind of kill things, and it's been hard when I've tried to play a character in that guild and in Bloodlock as well to really get much of anywhere just because it's so just and I hate to say it that way, but people have been saying it. It's just so entrenched. It's hard to really get yourself in any sort of position unless you happen to be in one of the other guilds. If you're in like the Carnifex or actually, yeah, just if you're in the Carnifex, you end up in, having a little bit of a better situation and getting much of anywhere. By the way, I see you're possibly going to. Oh no, you're going back to FTEL. I was about to say Takana Tiana's on there right now, so you may not want to go over there.
Yeah. Well, if I even know that one person is there bashing it, I'm probably not gonna go there because like I don't like the idea of splitting that. Like the whole point of going there is that you get all the mobs, in my opinion. But
I used to split with I actually split it with people all the time, and when I was Dorif and I when we were bashing on there a lot because we're pretty good pals. I don't know, out of character level. We chat all the time. I would be in Shadow Web hanging out and just chatting and whatnot. So when he was really grinding heavily to 200, we actually would let each other know when we were going to be knifing so that we could make sure we offered our corpses and we were ready to go, and we did that back and forth. He usually ended up having more knives than me, but I did share my knives with him because he is a friend, and it's not about being able to get as much XP as possible because in the end, even if you two are bashing over top of each other, you're splitting the experience, and that's going to be what you're going to be doing across all the zones anyway if you're bashing at the same time. So may as well be friendly about it and just you know be nice and let it go as it's going to go, and it's cool,
yeah,
yeah.
the mobs are back on Eftel Island, thankfully, and they're also destroying my mana, as you might be able to see.
Yeah, yeah, I
That's what
see
they
you
do.
bleeding there, bleeding,
Yeah.
bleeding, bleeding. That's
Yep.
what's killing your band is all that
Yeah.
bleeding.
That's what I do to people in PvP now as shapeshifter. That's how I killed Kagura really fast during the duel. I looked at the log too. They were like not clotting at all past a certain point. That was kind of fascinating. But one thing that helps me get around this usually is the fact that I gain mana when I kill things from Redemption, but I also
Yeah.
have mana flow. Have you used mana flow since they fixed it? Do you even know
No,
what that is?
I do know what mana flow is, but
Yeah.
no, I don't. I don't play Templar. I hate Templar.
Well, no, mana flow is a Yalim thing. It's an Ilum thing.
Oh, is it?
It's
I
a
thought it
set. It's
was.
one of the city modifications like iridescence and stuff. You know, like manipulate pylon for whatever.
No, I don't remember that one. Then no, I was thinking of something else. Clearly.
But what mana flow is if you have it and you do manipulate pylon for mana flow, it puts like a buff on you for like 24 hours, and it'll just randomly. It apparently it never worked at all. It didn't do anything before, and then they fixed it recently. And what it does now is every once in a while you just randomly will get like 600 mana out of nowhere. Like that, I just get like 600 mana region ticks out of nowhere, and it's pretty crazy. I don't think hardly anyone uses it, but I use it all the time. It's the one that I use because there's so many times like this where you're getting your fucking mana sapped out of you while you're bashing, and it helps a lot with that.
Sorry.
But yeah,
Again.
I'm getting pretty I'm bleeding quite a bit here now. I might die, but we'll see. Maybe not.
Yeah, my thing I built in and was something I worked with Saber on trying to figure out the best way to go about it. Um, I ended up building it in so that if I'm bleeding a certain amount, I actually shield and keep spanning shield while I am bleeding and clotting, so that I can go ahead and try to get my clotting under control. and then once it's under control, then I go back to bashing. That way
Yeah.
I don't die.
I just let it ride and roll the dice and hopefully I clot.
You crazy.
Yeah.
I'm a very
It worked
safe
out.
basher. Like I'm gonna since I'm doing screen share, I can actually go, let's see. Where is my zealot bashing here?
Yeah,
For
so
anyone that's seeing my screen, this is what I have. It's like if you haven't probed the creature, go probe it for us if you're on Takana or Dracum, so you can figure out if they are going to be a Punisher or not, because Punishers will kill you through shield. And then I have it like if there's counterattack, blackout, or your HP's low, or you're bleeding, you get to do all these different things. I've got reflection, liar, then I clot, then there's more clotting, and then I finally attack things. So
oh my.
it's
Yeah,
very
that's a
thorough.
lot more logic than mine has.
Yeah,
I just brute force everything.
I had to really think about it because I was always, bashing while I'm working. And it's not like I'm not looking at the screen, but occasionally I may get distracted while I'm like typing something else out, that sort of thing. So it's harder for me to, if I'm really dying, to be able to catch it fast enough to stop myself and be able to run out of the room. Um, so I really needed that logic to help me survive in case I happen to just be looking at the other screen for the moment that it happens. Because that what I put in there is usually enough to be able to do that, and honestly, is usually enough to mitigate me dying at all. I very rarely, and this is something I'm going to end up probably eating my words on at some point because I'm jinxing myself right now. But I very
Right,
rarely die because of the fact that I have it logicked out pretty decently well. It's
right,
not definitely not perfect though.
right. But Seremus, I think was talking about mana flow in chat.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, he
it's
was.
like if you sit there and like you focus, like the way I was testing it before they fixed it is I would go into a training room and I would just focus down to like half mana, and then I literally would have mana flow up and like my mana would regenerate at the same amount, and then I bugged it, and then they actually fixed it pretty quick. And then if you just sit there and like your usually when I regenerate mana, it's like 100 or so from Moon Tattoo. But if you have mana flow up, it'll like just randomly also give you like 500 or 600 mana back. It's a pretty large amount. I think it's like probably like around 10% or more of your max mana just getting regenerated for free. Ugh. But I love using it. A lot of people use iridescence though instead. I think you can only use one or the other. I just don't. I don't need extra mists personally. I'd rather regenerate mana.
Yeah, the only one that I use is experience. That's the only thing I manipulate.
The wisdom or whatever. Yeah.
Wisdom, or I think I can't. It's actually I've got the experience already now. I ended up getting it from one of the stockings, so I do that. They're actually, I do believe, the same thing from when I was trying it, so
There
they
we
don't
go.
stack.
All right. Let's see here. Time to go kill some ghosts again in Eftel Island, and hopefully I don't die again. These freaking ghosts.
Good luck with
Actually,
that.
before I do that, I'm going to manipulate Pylon for element cold because that will help. Oh, my energy's too low. Time to drain Gauntlet. There we go. All right, back to it. The manipulate Pylon for element thing is like the level 19 Gauntlet ability, and it gives you like 10% more resistance to whatever element, which is actually kind of useful. Because one
Hmm.
of them that you can pick is psychic, and there's a lot of random stuff in the game that do psychic damage for no reason, like geese and zombies. So
Geese are crazy motherfuckers, so of course they got to do some psychic damage to you. They are traumatizing you when they attack you, so that is why they have to do it.
I
Uh,
guess.
Zombies are just classic, and zombie tropes is that some of them have that
I mean,
psychic
I
attack.
I guess I just before I played Anatolia, I can't recall a zombie that did psychic damage with its mind because I thought zombies were like brainless. How are they going to do psychic damage if they don't have brains? Why are they trying to get brains by damaging the brains? I don't understand.
They just need to nom on them. They don't need them to necessarily be functioning.
Okay,
There you go. Yeah, that's totally the reason why.
I got it.
Yeah.
Thank you for explaining it to me.
You are so welcome. I am so wise and smart, and I'm bullshitting. It's fine.
You're something, you know that. It's okay.
I am something. That is a great thing to say. Yeah, I'm definitely
Oh no.
something. Something
we we
crazy.
we are all something here. We're sitting around playing a text-based mud and talking about it on a stream. We are, you know what we are? We are niche to the core.
Niche.
Niche.
Why are we niche?
We're fulfilling a niche here, like our little niche corner of the internet. No?
Yeah, yeah, I guess.
Okay. It's okay to let me be right about something. I promise.
No, it's really not. It feels weird. It feels wrong.
I know. I'm never right about something. I just attack things and hope they die. That's what I do.
I mean, sometimes it works.
Yep.
Sometimes it really doesn't.
I know. I know.
Oh, what else has been going on?
I don't know. It feels like it's been a bit of a slow week in Ayatolia, but that's okay. I mean, it's the holidays and we've had a lot of craziness going on the last few months, but I know there's been some things that we're going to talk about, but we probably should talk about them on the weekend stream. Like the new idea system and other things like that.
Yeah, probably should save that when you actually have people, besides me.
Well, no, I mean, it's fine if it was just you, but it's like, we need to have topics to talk about for the weekend show.
Well, I more meant because it should be better if you have multiple people. It'd be good.
Well,
Then you have
that's
a
fine.
conversation.
Well, we're having a conversation.
I don't know. Are
Are
we?
we?
Are
Aren't
we
we?
having?
Why
I
not?
don't know.
What do you want to talk about? What's
I
going on with the Centauri? Why are there only 4 people in it?
I
Come on.
mean, who wants to play stuck up monks?
I mean, I thought the monks in Empyrean were pretty badass personally, and I wish the Aetolian ones were more like that. And I don't mean the class, I mean the guild itself. Like I enjoyed the monks living in the mountain and all that stuff. I thought that was cool as shit. But the
Eh,
Aetolian ones are like, oh, we live inside of a tree with a pond. I don't know.
yeah, they don't have enough. They don't really have a bite to them. I mean, we're trying. I'm actually been emailing with Ikti to try to figure out ideas on what we can do about the lore because apparently and essentially the lore for us as far as how we fit into Duran is that we are mediators, kind of like how the Illumini or are
Ah,
mediators. And I was like, that doesn't work because the city always comes first with making any sort of mediation terms. That's not a guild thing. And he agreed. He agreed that that definitely um wasn't shouldn't be a thing. It doesn't really work now that he's, been around long enough to be able to say that. Um so I've thrown a couple of different ideas on what we can do to see if we can kind of get a better concept for the theme of the guild. I mean,
mm-hmm.
it still has to be a monastery of some sort. Still has to be monks. Um, but I don't necessarily think we need to lean towards the tropes of Catholicism, which is what it was recently. Was very heavily leaning into Catholicism, and before that, it was obviously very leaning into Buddhist monks. It's like we could make our own thing, which is what my hope is we can kind of maybe take some pieces from classic and D&D monk role play. But definitely just try to find our own little niche. There we go. I said it right. In Atolia that fits into Duran. Because right now we're basically a bunch of city folk that moved into Duran and have never fit in.
Right. Yeah, I've always found it bizarre that the monks are like part of the forest council, but
Well,
it is
when
what it is.
I went and looked into it, and this is something that I've known for a while as far as the history on it. But we used to be in Honorian because that's where it was from Achaia. That's
Right.
where the monks were in that city. And then I don't know when it happened, but eventually we moved to Ashton because of the whole balance idea. The guild needs to be balanced. It needs to be in between. It doesn't need to be so focused on, you know, Honorian themes, essentially. And then when Ashton blew up, I can't. I actually went and looked. I could not find a post on when they voted on it, but basically they made the decision to move it into Duran, like the actual guild did at some during that time period. They tried actually to move it back outside of Duran. They didn't like having it in Duran. They were going to have it just be somewhere random, kind of like how we used to have the floating magic guild hall.
Uh huh.
They wanted to do something similar where it was just going to be outside in a different area, and got very much noped out of it. But the thing that you don't see is at some point there was a time where there was an opportunity, just like with the Carnifex and the Sciomancers, there was an opportunity for the Centauri and the Ascendral to swap cities. And both decided, now we're not going to do it. So there was an opportunity for them to go back and actually move back to Enorian and then a Central move to Duran because there were more Durrani people in the Central at the time. So it kind of made sense. But it didn't end up panning out. So realistically, it's just always been kept very monkish, very much we're our own little thing. We like to keep to ourselves. We're looking for enlightenment. We're doing our thing here and never really tried to make a solid effort to integrate it into Duran, honestly.
Yeah.
Um, which is what Aisling and I have definitely been trying to figure out ways to do because it needs to be. It needs to be part of Duran now. It's too Enorian like still. And some of my ideas were definitely still too Enorian like still. That we need to find one that fits Duran. As a I wanted us to be social warriors of a sort, and that's just too Enorian.
Social warriors. Oh man.
Well, like for causes. So like,
Uh-huh.
if a village is under attack, we're the ones that kind of go in there and try to free the people, or if we're seeing, people being treated poorly, we're kind of stepping in to help. Things like that, kind of leaning on that mediator thing, but with, punches and kicks, firepower.
Punches and
But yeah,
kicks.
I realized I'm like, yeah, when Ikta came back, I'm like, yeah, you know what? That does sound very annoying. It's very very leaning towards that instead of being Durrani. So,
Yeah.
and sorry, I've been rambling about that. I
It's
apologize. That was
okay.
a long
It was
ramble.
interesting to hear. I mean, you are the guild master of the Centauri. It was cool to hear you talk about that stuff. So yeah, like I don't know what it is. From my perspective in regards to the Centauri and the monks and Aetolia and stuff, it's like I really despise the idea, and this goes for kind of like Sisson too, which Surium is in chat. I don't like the idea of being like these are neutral classes, but hey, the guilds aren't neutral. Like I don't like that. I think it's very disconnected and weird, personally. But
I agree. And honestly, someone recently, and this is something I've talked about in web, someone recently rigged the system from the newbie system so that they could pick up monk and then hop to bloodlock. And somehow, when they graduated from the academy in bloodlock and still kept monk, they ended up in our guild.
what the hell?
Just because everything is so screwy. Um, but I do think that the class it's cool for the class to be its own to be neutral. That's fine. But we do need to find a way to make the guild itself not feel neutral. The Citizen definitely have a good enough theme in them with all of the Severin bits and the shadow protection and all that. They have a good enough lore that they themselves have very tethered themselves to being shadow. Honestly. There's
Yeah.
there's no question. You don't say, "Hey, Citizen, you're neutral." No, we're shadow. You can tell because of Severin and all these other reasons. But the Centauri have never been given that opportunity. They just never were given that backbone to say, okay, this is why you were specifically made for this side. Now we've definitely given some of that lore for like Kai. Kai is basically it's made by the friction between planes. Um, and we've got working with that. We've got this thing in the guild specifically a void push that works off of Kai that pushes things into the void. It's kind of what we do for Dendara Blight and things. We actually push it into the void, which is basically the nothing between planes. So
Hmm.
we're starting to get some of that, so that we can definitely be okay. You've got a reason. You got a purpose. You are fighting Dendara. You're fighting to help Dendara. This is how you're doing it. We're getting that. But we never really had it. We were one of those guilds that just made no sense anywhere because of how neutral we were as a guild.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just weird. I don't know what. As an outsider, I have no idea what the themes or the interesting stuff about the Centauri have been the entire time I've ever played Aetolia, and I just don't. I don't even think that the name of the guild makes any sense. Like I don't even know what the hell Centauri means, and it's just like I don't know, they just seem too entirely vanilla from an outside standpoint to be interesting enough for me to ever want to join.
Oh, I know.
Whereas, like, when I played, when we played Empyrean back in the day, I actually remember loving, like, however they were running the monks on there. Like, I joined it and I thought it was awesome and it was cool living in the mountains and stuff like that. But like, I just don't know what it is about the Centauri and Aetolia. I don't know what they are. I don't. It's weird. Like, I don't feel like, and this is not an offense to you or Iceling. I don't feel like they have a single like person in there that's like I don't feel like they have a Benedicto, you know what I mean? Or a Mayol or something. Like somebody that's like really iconic in the game. Like
Yeah, no, that's definitely not
and I don't
anything
even
offensive to
yeah,
me. No, I totally
like
get what you mean. It's like I want to be at that point. I want to be a little bit more of a spokesperson because I've done that before. You know that I had the
right.
archivist I revived. I've revived Nebraser. I've revived enough organizations that I could do it again. It's not a big deal, but I need some backbone. I need something to work with. And like Sarah has said, Centauri needs something badly. And this has been my point. It's like we've got a whole four of us, maybe five or six if you count some of the like stragglers that show up occasionally. But it's basically me, Aisling, Teotl, and Aolin. That's pretty much it. That's our four people that log in regularly and do anything. So people just don't want to join us anymore because we don't have that thing. We don't have that niche, whatever. I
Yeah.
can't pronounce that word. We
Niche,
don't
yeah.
have that. So we're working on it. But I was honest with Victy. I'm like, if we can't figure something out, we may as well merge into another guild
Right.
because
Kind of like
we're
the how
just
the
not getting the
Daru did.
interest. Yeah, and I know they want to keep it to the nice three per city. I get that, but I was just honest about it. I'm like, we've got four people. There's if we can't find something that's going to drive some interest and make us actually very Aetolian and very Durrani, then it's not going to make a difference. We're still going to stay like we are. So, um, yeah, and it's because you can get monk anywhere. You can get the class from pretty much anyone. They don't need to come to us. So we need a reason for people to want to come to us. They can come to us because they like the lore of the guild. So I definitely I leaned very heavily in my email about the void idea, about us being void monks potentially and that sort of thing. So I'm hopeful that maybe that will be the way we go, but I don't know for sure. I know they're definitely brainstorming. You saw their post, Icty's post about them really wanting to look at orgs and try to figure out how to flesh them out better and really make people want to join them. So I'm definitely hopeful that something will come out, but we need something. And yeah, we definitely need, I think a mirror class would help a lot,
Yeah.
but
But there is
it
no mirror
only,
class because it's neutral. Like, well, I mean,
well,
I guess you
no,
can give it to them. I see what
yeah,
you're
they can
saying, but like,
absolutely, yeah, they can absolutely still give us a mirror class, but it has to be something that's going to work
yeah,
within the themes of the guild. And there's not really that many of the mirror classes, if just me conceptually thinking about it, that would fit the monk lifestyle necessarily. So that's where I'm kind of like, eh. And I do feel like we would end up being like the Sciomancers who got a flood of new people that joined, and then it kind of fizzled because obviously people got the mirror and then people were able to get it a little bit more easily, so it just didn't stay lively. So that would be my concern, is we would end up being like that if we did get a mirror right now, just because we don't really have enough lore and build on us.
yeah. I don't know.
And yes, void and spirit psychomancers. I am totally there, Sermus. I think the void, the area between the planes and everything, would be perfect for spirit psychomancers. I will not say no to that. That would be fantastic.
Yeah, it's weird because like I think, and this is like the old school player in me. I think that like when it comes to incentivizing people to want to be in a guild, you have to give them incentives. But and I don't mean that from a player like a guild master thing. I mean like the admin should like make there be things that people want to be in the guild for. But like it's just like some of the things that I would think of and suggest are like things that people would immediately dogpile on and be like, "No, you can't do that." That sort of thing. And so it's like it's hard, man. Like I don't know. I don't know what to say about it honestly. I would hate to ever see the Centauri go away, but I don't know where you go with them.
Well,
I
I
honestly
think the void is definitely, and I'm hopeful that is the route we end up going, because the void has so much opportunity because It's just dead space. There could be people trapped there. There could be all sorts of things that have happened with it, and it could lean heavily into the D&D trope of a death monk. If you've never heard of a death monk, you can go, Google D&D death monk.
Yeah,
I forget
I've
the
seen it. It's one of the additional like subclasses they came out with in the last few years, I think.
Yeah, exactly. So it could really have a lot that could go into it. That yes, as Sir Hermes is pointing it, it's very much a good theme. It's a different theme, and would take us away from the Christian and Buddhist connotations, because that is definitely what has been a thing in the game for the Centauri Guild for a long time. I don't know if it was heavily Christian before, but it definitely was recently. So I don't know if it was more leaning Buddhist before or what. I wasn't part of it back in the early days, back when it was in Norian. But I do the difference that I can say, Eric, since you keep talking about the Empyrean one, is that they were pretty much the zealots in a way of monks. So we already have that. That's the bad thing. Like we
Right,
can't make them that. We can't do that. We can't just make them, oh, these are also zealots, but they don't have these zealot abilities.
right.
So we do have to find our own thing. But that was why they worked so well, is they were monks that were passionate about Antioch and about being
Yeah.
anti-magic
That
and all
that's what
that
I
good
was gonna
stuff.
say. They had a firmly like they were firmly always anti magic, and they always were anti magic from conception. Like they
Exactly.
were,
And
yeah,
yeah, it's like unfortunately we waffled because of different leadership. And then they allowed the person to pay to make the Daru, so that could have basically the Illumini one skill and not have a separate guild for it, which was always just, it was hilarious to me that they let someone pay to make their own guild in class, but
right.
whatever. Um, but we waffled way too much. Like we wanted to get away from being the zealots, so we went to Ashton, and then we were very pro undeath for a bit there, or balance, being able to allow undeath and life in the same guild, even though Lilith was the patron, which is still hilarious to me. Um, and then we're just kind of shoving ourselves wherever we could find a place.
Huh,
It's great. It's great.
that's something.
But the good thing is that the reason why the guild has always been very big is it did used to have some pretty large names. Like Karen was a very big name. She had her little cohort of friends, and they were very energetic, very positive, always trying to really encourage people in the guild. So that's what actually kept a lot of people around, was that kind of personality, even though the guild lore wasn't that great. Um, and it was definitely still very leaning neutral, so a lot of people leaned into that and still had relationships with vampires and stuff, and it was good times. And then when they started to be more strict, is where you started to see that decline, because people didn't want it to be a non-neutral guild. They wanted it to be, they wanted it to be neutral. They wanted to be able to do, whatever the hell they wanted. That's why they joined that guild. So that's where that downfall has been steadily happening, and no one's ever tried to really fix it at an admin level, unfortunately.
Yeah, it's
And I'm done
unfortunate.
rambling. I'm so done rambling. I am sorry.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I wouldn't mind personally. And this again, this is like an old school mentality. I wish there was things they could specifically give to only gilded people. Um,
No, I wholly agree. They actually, our guild does have some things. We're one of the few guilds that does have some things. Like the Illumini, I know, has a few things, but we also do as well that are specific to the guild. And they are from an old event that was done during Karen's time, when we were trying to really get them to accept Duran and try to make them more Durani feeling. Um, so they've got their own style scrolls that they get. They have a mini pet. They have a skill that'll transport them to the guild hall. It's a higher up skill. And then they have a bunch of like quests and some of the things, which is obviously something the Templars have. Um, but they did end up getting some of those just miscellaneous bonuses. Um, but that's definitely still not enough to entice. So I do think the sanction system was great for enticing people to at
right.
least be sanctioned to guilds, or it's for people to join them. But I do agree why it was taken away. And we do still need to find something that really makes guilds more worthwhile
Mhm.
beyond just having people to talk to and having that
Yeah.
role play piece.
Well, there's the like, I don't know if you've ever had too many alts in Templars or whatever, but like when I play when I'm in the Templars guild, like I stay in the Templars guild because of like the way the system is, like the progression system is great. Like there's a lot of history with various Templars. There's things in the guild hall that tracks our history and like all the people that have come and gone. There's a million things about the Templars that make the Templars, but I don't know what that is for Centauri. I don't know, like and for example, like the Guildmaster always has Savellum's sword. Like that's a thing that they
Mhm.
have, and like you have the whole history of the Saluno brothers, which obviously applies to Carnifex and Sentinels and stuff. But like it's just like there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot of lore and history, and there's a lot of history in the sense that there's been a lot of prominent players come and go through the guild, and it's like you know generally what you're signing up for, and you have things to always strive for and like aim for. But I don't know how that like if that's true with Centauri. Like I've just never heard of it from anyone. Like I don't know. Whenever I encounter a Centauri, I don't know what makes them different from me. That sort of thing. It's like it's just weird. Like I don't know. But I hope they get their own identity, and I hope that they're one of the first guilds to like really get some good events and things going whenever the new year starts and we get that sort of thing going. Because obviously, Tennis said that they wanted to focus on that sort of thing.
Yeah,
So
I'm very hopeful. And honestly, once I can get some sort of idea of where Ixte's leaning, I'm already prepared to rewrite the entire promotion system. I mean, our promotion system is not terrible. Aisling and I did some touch ups to it, but it's not that interesting. It's just a typical promotion system. So I'm looking forward to redoing it. You know me, I love redoing shit. It's my favorite thing to do. Is just rewriting files. And just finding a better way for things to work. So yeah, I'm excited, frankly. That's why I was glad that I got to take the guild over. I was like, yeah, man, I can just go all balls in and just have at it, and it'll be fantastic. It'll be like my good old days. I'll have some fun with it. Um, so just gotta be patient and wait, because I don't want to start changing things now,
hmm
and then we end up saying, okay, this is the way we're going to shift it, and the requirements and the path and the progression don't necessarily fit. um and once we get the progression set, then we can go do things like you're talking about, which is have some of those unique items and what have you to kind of really help
yeah,
build on those themes. I will say though, one thing that people are not aware of is that we actually do have some pretty extensive lore. um there are several tomes that, and it was part of actually Karen's event, that gave a good boost to history. Um, so there's a bunch of history as far as like Brackus, which we're trying to move away from that, but obviously that's where a lot of it comes from, and it basically goes. Some of the lore is going back to um, what do you call it? The thing Severin did. What is that
the
called?
Grand Artifice.
Yeah, the Grand Artifice. So you got stuff that goes all the way back to the Grand Artifice and talks about how, the Great Library, the Great Grant, whatever it's called, is actually some of the same monks. We are, just different sects. And there's a bunch of things to tie into different areas that people just aren't aware of.
Hmm.
So if you're ever interested, you could definitely, poke my character in game, or I can definitely find the books and share some of that information. I do think that the newer books should have been in the libraries. It was written by the NPC Growlet, Grolet, um, and tells like the lore of Santi, Ashura, and Growlets, because they're triplets that were prophesized ones or something like that. I forget like the specifics there, but there's some
Yeah.
really interesting stuff there.
Well,
People just don't know.
unfortunately, I'm probably in all likelihood going to be a lifelong member of the Templars.
Oh no, no, this is not a recruitment thing.
I
That is for
know.
sure. It's one of those things where I just like to say people just don't know, because a lot of it was kept kind of secret. Like there is actually some new lore that had come out for vampires too, about how the whole thing worked and where why they have to suck blood and all this other stuff that people just weren't aware of because the Dominion just keeps it kind of in their own guild hall and stuff. So I don't think the book's out there a ton.
Right.
Um, but it's the same thing. It's like I don't know how many people have actually seen that book and know it exists. So it'd be good for people to just be aware, even at an out of character level, that hey, there's lore. If you're ever curious,
Yeah.
just go take a gander. It's not amazing lore. It's not the Saluno brothers, but it's still pretty interesting.
Right. Well, I just want you to imagine a world where, as mediocre as I am at combat, there might be a world that exists soon where I'm actually an order champion. Isn't that something?
That that is something. That
Yeah.
is something. But I mean,
But right
you're not the
now, right now I'm a moral compass. I don't know if you can see that on your screen. That's my
you're
rank. Look
that's
at
your rank as a moral compass.
look
Very
at it.
nice.
I I don't know that I've ever met anyone in my life who would describe me as a moral compass.
Yeah,
But I
you're
know it's
definitely
also not
you and
me, it's my character, but yeah, like
I don't even know if Eric's is a moral compass.
right? Listen,
I'm
what a
just gonna shut up.
what a rank. Look at that. Moral compass. I never like I saw that rank and I was like, "What?" Like
I mean, that is very much the Demario themes, though.
yeah.
It's very much about morality and being pure and all this other stuff. And that's
Well,
why it's like it just doesn't work for unfortunately for my character. I need she needs to have more bite, not be passive.
listen. I'm not passive and I
You're
get
not passive, no,
and
but
I get order promotions apparently, so who knows, but
you're going to be a grand champion. You're going
right.
to totally resurrect shrines
Listen.
because
I,
that's pretty much the only thing to do.
as I as I sit here and chew on this lovely candy I'm eating,
Oh, what you got? What you got?
um sweet tart ropes, cherry punch flavored, very good. Um
Mm.
anyway, I will say that if the Mario actually does come back and this does decide to do what Alali suggests and I become an order champion, I will probably actually make an effort to get better at dueling. I did it about halfway. I feel like my offense is pretty good now with what I did for shapeshifter. I essentially made
Mhm.
it semi-manual so that I am not as predictable, and I think that that's really key when it comes to limb stuff because it's worked out for me pretty well offensively. But now I'm at the point where I need to do the cure set stuff and the first aid stuff, and that stuff just doesn't appeal to me. But like if I'm in a situation where I feel like I have to because certain expectations are put on me, I'll probably do it and get better at it. But it's like not one of those things that I'm looking forward to.
Yeah,
So,
no, I know that feeling. I'm not looking forward to it with trying to build out offenses from Monk. I've been avoiding that for so long. Um, just because I suck at limb classes, except for Shifter. I've actually got some really great code for Shifter
yeah.
that I've tweaked a little bit. It's something that Taz had built for Skiva
Uh huh.
ages ago. So it's pretty good, and I understand the code and I can do it pretty well. But for Monk, I just look at the stuff and I'm like,
Well,
no,
yeah,
I'll go
that's how
back to
I
my
feel.
F classes.
Yeah, that's kind of how I felt about Monk because I had it for a little bit too before I forgot it and learned Sisson. But like Monk is just like there's so many things you can do in tandem with Takura, and then on top of that, Takura is like one of the only limb classes, if not the only limb class in the game that has 3 hits. So it's like it's just weird because like when I think of a limb class, I think of 2 hits at a time. That's how it's always been, except for monks. And it's just adding that third hit just confuses me and like makes me go down rabbit holes that I shouldn't go down and stuff like that. And
You know that's just every normal monk class in every
I know,
IRE, right? I was about to say it's like they had that in Empyrean too. Anakia, normal monk was always 3 hits.
but I gotta say, I really feel like and maybe this is me being biased from really enjoying and playing shapeshifter a lot, but I feel like monks take a really long time to actually break your limbs compared to some other classes. And I feel like,
They they do. You're not
yeah,
wrong there. But with the benefit, I haven't played with it honestly, but I've been hearing really good results from I think it was Benedicto on Ripple.
right.
Adding that in there so that you're putting in that additional cure pressure is supposed to be really darn impressive. I need to But I'm gonna get to 200 first before I start
Yeah,
fucking around with my system and
right.
recoding things. I am going to get to 200 first and get guaranteed what class I'm gonna get, regardless of if I lose levels, and then I'll go fuck around and lose levels.
Yeah. It's and another thing I just generally don't like about dueling, and I understand that like you have to have this because like you can't like just let somebody figure something out and have no variance in the system because like I don't like how like you can know what you're doing in combat and then you can just lose because they dodged and you didn't. And there's not really much you can do about that other than like sticking certain afflictions on them. But I just think it sucks like kind of like when I look at that log of the duel between me and Kagura, there was a lot of times where I won that I think because I dodged a lot of their hits and they didn't dodge mine and I got more hits in basically and it was just like I just find that that randomness, that variance is like something I don't really enjoy in a lot of games in general, but I don't
I'll
know.
say that's life. Life is random, so
I
you
mean, in
just
the
don't like
context of
life.
game, no, not life, like just games and stuff. Like I have to deal with that when I play Magic. Like I've been a big player of Magic for like 15 years now, and like there, it doesn't matter what you do. Sometimes you just don't draw a good hand, and there's no, it's just luck. And I don't like that there's that aspect of it sometimes in Aetolia too.
Well,
But
I really think that's most games, is there is always going to be that aspect of just absolute luck and bad luck. And I
yeah, it's called
get what you're
variance.
saying though. Yeah, the variance. It's like I get your frustration and dislike of it, but I actually like that just because it makes things random and interesting because you don't know necessarily what's going to happen next. It does make it so you can't automate everything. You can't take into account every single factor. You can take in most, but you can't make it
Yeah,
perfect. So it can't be fully automated. Can it be mostly? Absolutely. But you definitely have to be a little bit there to do what you need to do to get things done. Except if you're using MASSYS, I will say that because MASSYS has been built to pretty much account for everything as long as you have a shit ton of artifacts.
right.
So that is probably one of the few systems that is pretty well considers everything.
Yeah. There's a lot of little things that I've changed for myself in my own version of Sunder, and I like building things offensively in Sunder. I don't like doing the first aid, curing stuff, and all that, but I like messing around with my own offenses and stuff. And like, there's all kinds of little things that people forget about Shapeshifter.
Hmm.
Like most of my kills lately as a shapeshifter, like in the duel or just in general, are not even devour. They're not even devour anymore. They're just damage and bleed. Like they just do so much bleeding to people. Like you every two jugulars that you hit is 400 bleeding. Like good luck. And then people don't parry torso very often. I've noticed. So if I break your torso and I hit you with one or two lacerates, you're probably dead. Not right
What I
away.
do have. I wonder what I do have in my Piri for shapeshifter. I can't remember. I'm actually taking a quick gander here. Yeah, I do have a parry for torso. If my torso is mangled, I will parry it. So I do it. But the thing that with like a bunch of the build additions that I did to my version of Sunder is I actually just went into MASSYS, honestly. And this is something I'm very just frank about it. I took pieces out of it and rebuilt it into my system. So my parry is kind of what Mazium would have in his. My first aid stuff, the stuff that you're talking about that you don't want to have to deal with,
Yeah.
I have first aid assist built in that I took off of his system and rebuilt it for Sunder. So it's actually all in system. It's not using first aid. I mean, it uses first aid, but it's not like I have cure sets made into first aid. I just have it so if I'm fighting a specific class, the inside system says, okay, I'm going to turn this assistant on for you. And it changes some of my priorities according to that class. And it just ends up being a little bit easier for me that I can manage that in system versus me trying to build out actual cure sets. And it's just how my brain works. I
Right.
don't like having to make the actual cure sets. I'd rather just make the things in my system. It's easier.
Right. Yeah, it's Shapeshifter has always been one of my favorites. There's like again, it's there's a lot of little things that people don't know about it. Like for example, like people really forget that if you're prone in any way against the shapeshifter, you have 0 armor. Literally 0 armor, and then that's an easy way to die real quick, and then there's also things like, people forget that you can use baying, and you can, like, put howls on people without, like, on command. There's, like, what else? The fact that if somebody tumbles away from you, like, while you're a shapeshifter, they don't get any parry or armor against you while they're tumbling. So, like, just little things like that, and I think it's a really cool class. I used to play it before I retired my shadow character, and I remember that round of class leads back then. I had submitted like really cool stuff for shapeshifter that ended up getting put in. Like the although I do think that it kind of sucks that they used to have a skill, they still have it, but it kind of sucks now. The one where like if you hit parry 3 times, then you can like bite while off balance or something like that. That used to just be like, you know, 2 hits, and it being 3 hits now kind of just makes it useless. But I don't know.
Mm.
It's a really cool class, and it's weird because like there's things I want to class lead about it in the future, but like I feel like everybody thinks it's like pretty fine, but I don't. I don't like the fact that it's like the only limb class that doesn't have a way to force through parry. Like they don't have really anything you can do to get like if you're a monk, you can literally just like feint and double punch like to force a break if you want to. Or if you're like a Templar or a Revenant, you can stun them like with Vorpal or something and force through a parry. But like Shapeshifter doesn't have that at all, and
Yeah.
it's the only thing you can do is hope to get their arms broken. But then you have the same problem that Zealots have. If you focus on somebody's arms, they're just gonna walk away. So I
I think
don't know.
that's pretty much the bad thing about any class is the fact that of how easy it is to have it be completely reset. Um,
Right.
oh, you're coming to steal my island. I just knifed it, but that's fine. Go ahead.
I did.
It's
I
cool.
didn't know. I'm sorry.
It's okay. You go ahead. We're good. I'm actually, since I'm going to end up having to get off here another hour, probably we'll wrap up bashing here in just a little bit. Um, but yeah, there's a lot of classes that it's so easy to just walk away or tumble out to reset
Yeah.
that I think that's an issue for just about every single one of them actually. But yes, there are a few ways to kind of punish people for trying to do it. I do
Yeah.
think shapeshifter is one of those that has sometimes a little bit less than that, but you could possibly neck drag them back into the room.
Right.
There's a few options to really try to get them to be like, nope, you're not going anywhere. I'm going to keep you, and you're going to stay here, and that's the deal. Um, my most frustrating one was definitely resetting back in the old shaman days. Um, I remember fighting Vixis, and she was always getting so pissed off at me because it was the one code that I had built really really well with Aisha's help back in the day, and with some work from Mazian. Um, and she just kept walking out and resetting the whole thing, and then she would be like, okay, I'm reset, I can come back and fight you, and she would come fight me, and then I just pile it on her again, and she'd have to leave again and reset it again, and it was hilarious. But because shaman is one
Yeah.
of those ones where it is hard to lock someone down and get them to not move, and when they do, they usually cure most of the afflictions pretty quickly before they come back into the room. So
Yeah.
it was always frustrating to be like, I'm one move away from getting my kill. Just stand still for one
Yeah.
more second, and then boop, they walked out, and that's reset. I'm like,
Yeah. And I do think that a lot of classes like that it's kind of generally a problem. Or maybe it's not even a problem, but it's just one of those things again that's not appealing to me is like, oh, we're going to fight and fight and then as soon as like, I get a little bit above you, you're just going to reset. Like it's cheesy and it's like boring in my opinion. That's why part of why I don't like dueling. It's like it's very hard to have finality. And then once you don't have finality, then it kind of comes down to luck like I said. And
yeah.
I don't
I
like that.
I like the thrill of it. I like going one on one, fighting, challenging my coding skills, and trying to figure out new ways to tweak it to be able to handle a variety of people. I do like that. I've actually built some really decent scripts in Sunder for that fact, primarily for Archivist and Sciomancers back when I was Shadow, and I loved it for that reason. But the reason you're bringing up, yeah, absolutely, I hate the resetting. That is the my least favorite part of it because you can get so close, and then all of a sudden people walk out, like I already
Yeah,
said,
it's
and it's
too
just
hard to everything's so built on momentum that like once
yeah.
you have no more momentum, it's like you just snap your fingers and all that work you did just disappears. That's the problem.
Exactly, and
Like,
that's definitely my big frustration point when I'm doing it. That's why I don't do it very much anymore. Besides that, I just don't want to lose the experience. It's just I don't like that frustration when I lose my momentum and I have to restart all over again.
yeah,
Um, but I probably will get back into it eventually. It is nice to have something to do with coding to just kind of challenge my coding skills and do something different.
yeah, and
I'm not the greatest coder though, that is for sure. You
yeah,
can ask people are like, "Oh, your code's ugly. There's so many if then else statements." And I'm like,
yeah,
"Well, that's how my brain works.
me
If
too.
this, if this, if it's not this, it makes sense. It's
Yep,
logical to me. If I try to do for loops and everything, it just doesn't make as much sense in my
I
brain,
am the
even though
same
I've
exact way. I
it's like
don't do fours at
I
all.
it's like I have had to do them. I've had to do them since college, so I know what they are, but it's just my brain when I'm trying to read the code, it's easier for me to just see a bunch of if then else statements
Yeah,
and look at them that way cuz I can see and read the logic as it's going versus trying to remember, now what is this for loop trying to do? Okay, and take longer to actually figure it out.
yep. And like Sarima said in chat, resets are my most and least favorite part of Sisson. It feels like they're built around just abusing free resets. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
well, to me with Sisson and every version of Sisson and all the Iron Realms games, it's kind of like their theme, right? Is being slippery and sneaky, and I kind
Yeah.
of get it for them. But the problem I have is when like it feels like every single class can reset easily, like a Sisson should be able to. Like it's like at that point, it's like you're also kind of taking the role of assistant away from them partially when everybody can kind of sneak away easily now. So it's like, and I don't mean like phase obviously, but like I just mean like, oh, I'm about to die here. I'm gonna use X, Y, or Z and just easily leave the room and like reset, and everybody can do that now. It's just like I don't know. It is what it is.
Yeah.
It's one of those things where like it's just been built into the game for a long time and it is what it is and like that's the way it's built right now. So doesn't mean I have to like it though. And it's part of why I just don't bother cuz like I tried to get into it when I made this character and there was so many times like I would fight someone like Vaughn who is now retired, but he played Zealot and I would fight him as Templar a lot and it would just be
He gave me such a sad feeling. I miss Vaughn.
yeah, he was cool. But like I remember one of the first time me and him like actually did an arena duel and I was like getting momentum on him with the ret route or whatever. And then he would just leave the room. And then he'd come back and he'd start breaking my arms as zealot and then I would just leave the room. And then we did that over and over and over and over and over and over. And that's like just not interesting to me. Like it's just it's boring and cheesy. It's like, "Oh, let's just run around and reset nonstop." I don't know.
Yeah. That was always me fighting Justice in any of his various characters. Is just the constant reset was always just so absolutely frustrating.
Yeah.
Now, I will say that the few times I fought like Mazian and Benedicto, I've had really good luck of them just staying still and we've just fought it out
Right.
regardless. Um, but I know that they've also they're very much, survival, survive, survive. Everyone's got that survival mentality. So everyone resets. I don't think there's a single person
Yeah.
in sect or otherwise that is not going to try to spam shield, tumble, or get the fuck
Yeah.
out.
Well,
I don't
it's
think
the
anyone's not going to if they are getting to the point they're close to death, they're gonna be like, oh fuck, oh fuck, oh fuck.
right.
That's literally what they're saying
Well,
as they're trying to escape.
it's the thing that makes the most tactical sense. I'm like not mad at the
Yeah.
player. I'm really mad at the game in this sense. Like I just think that if there was any other way to make it, I don't know. I just find it really boring to artificially like draw a fight out, especially when everybody's class is momentum based, and it's
Yeah.
just like. It's like you did all this stuff, you did all this stuff. It's time to kill them. Ah, they're gone, and they just reset every single thing you did for the past 5 minutes.
But magical
Sorry.
sect points and you lose them when you die and stuff. So you gotta take it super, super seriously.
Yeah, it's wild. I don't know. It's just one of those things, and like I used to do, as you know, when we played Empyrean, I used to do a lot of like real PK and not like sect style PK. So I've done plenty of it in my time on these games. Like I've done enormous amounts of PK on these games, and it's just like Sect of Blades to me is not real PK. It just isn't.
I'm gonna sound ridiculous right now, but I have to say this, and I apologize. You just sounded like Donald Trump with his, when he's always saying, "I've got great things going on. We're the maze."
Nah, I didn't mean to do that, but all right.
But you did. I'm so
I did not sound
sorry.
like Donald Trump. I'm going to beat you. You're fired.
You just sound like him again. You're
Too
fired. We
bad.
gotta.
You're fired. Oh, except I'm going to light you on fire. How about that?
I mean,
I mean, your wings are already made of fire, so it might not do much, but
no, no, it's really not gonna do much. It might just like make me run around or something. I don't even know. I don't even know.
you know what I would like, Seremus, now that you're talking about vision and stuff, or new vision skills, and I was thinking about this last night, actually, or recently. I would love a vision skill for everyone that lets you, not even constantly, but maybe like on a cooldown, lets you be able to see what somebody's bleeding is, or when they bleed. I don't know if that exists already on any class,
Uh,
but like I was thinking about that. I was like, it'd be really cool to be able to have some sort of information about my opponent's bleeding.
I feel like that's something in Sangoose, possibly. I can't remember. Or you can sense when they're bleeding or something. I was trying to actually look and see if
I
I
feel
can
like
see
you're
it.
right. I feel like there's some kind of skill or something that exists in Anatolia that lets you see somebody's bleeding, but I can't remember it. And I was thinking about that last night. I'm like, I do, as a shapeshifter, I do a lot of bleeding, and it would be really cool to see if they are like clotting or not, or how much they're bleeding, and what I need to do based on that. But when it comes to bleeding in Anatolia, it seems like you're just like hoping that they're bleeding for a lot, and then you don't know, and then all of a sudden they die from it unexpectedly. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
your attunement with blood allows you to sense how much others are bleeding are bleeding for within your room. This will drain your blood reserves for as long as you have it active. So yeah, there's
Yeah,
blood track on Praenomen that actually is able
right.
to see what you're bleeding. But I feel like that is probably the only class because that's the only one that relies as much on it. I do
Yeah,
know that there are bleed routes in Templar and a couple
right.
of other classes, but that is the big one.
Yeah, there's a lot of classes that worry about bleeding on their opponents, and it just, you know,
Oh yeah, I like a good. I know Illidan, Illical, and others are probably going to just completely like fuss at me for saying this, but I love a good thorn route on my shaman. I love the thought of making them bleed to bits to die.
hmm,
It's very
that's neat.
difficult to do, but it is my favorite. It's always been my favorite because basically what you're doing is just one ability, one ability, one ability, trying to get as many thorns on someone as possible,
Yeah,
and that's causing a lot of bleed damage by itself. And then you're strangling them, and they have to writhe out of that, so it's doing damage from those thorns as well as bleeding and all this other stuff. So it is one of my favorite ones to do because it really is a cheese check though. It's a newbie check because most people pull thorns out. They are paying attention pretty quickly, so you don't really have that momentum to build up the three. But if you're lucky, you might get someone that doesn't know and
yeah,
haven't set it in their curing and just don't pull them. So I do love
right.
that one. And
Yeah,
yeah, someone just said Wayfarer blood trails. Is that
I
is
looked
that
at it
telling you
in
how
game.
much? Is that how
It's a
much
little
people are
different,
bleeding?
and it only works if they have at least 200 bleeding, or an axe embedded in their body, and but you'll be able to
Yeah,
spot flowing wounds and the traces they leave. I don't
yeah. So you'll
know
see
how
like
this
where
actually
they're
works in
going.
practice, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
think that's just to track where they're going and be able to get to them faster more than it is actually seeing the amount of blood and actually seeing how much they're bleeding at that very moment. I think
but
that's different.
yeah. My guess is my dream of having, the ability as a shapeshifter to see how much my opponent is bleeding is never going to come true. People would
No,
probably
no.
hate that too much.
I don't even know that they would hate it, but there's not really as much need for it because I mean it's handy to know and that's what you're going for that kill is you're trying to shred and bleed. But there's not in tandem other abilities you're having to use while they're bleeding that you need to be aware of. Like vampires, yeah, you need to know it because that's part of like the annihilation route and a couple of others if you want to like get their blood and use it for rune painting and stuff like that. So it makes sense for Praenomen, but for other classes, there's not really that need to know exactly how much they're bleeding.
Listen, I can kind of, sort of, as a shapeshifter, stick hemophilia or rend on someone. All right, so
Then you're sticking it on them. You don't need
ugh,
to know if they're bleeding
why
in order to
not?
stick it because you just don't need to know. Just go
I just
do
don't need
it.
to know. Ugh.
Yeah, you don't need to know. Just go do it.
I
Stick it
have
on
been.
them.
Uh,
Make them bleed more. That's your goal. It's just keep
this
doing it.
is.
Doesn't matter how much they're doing it. Just keep
Oh my
doing the same
gosh,
thing.
this is feeling awfully aggressive right now. I think I might need an adult soon. Ugh.
I am not an adult. I don't claim to be an adult, so you are out of luck.
Oh my gosh. But yeah, I like making people bleed. It's fun. I
Wow, what kind of
enjoy
masochist are you? Jeez, I need an adult.
as a shapeshifter. I'm just saying, like it's fun.
Sure. Sure.
Instead of using devour, I just break someone's torso and then I spam lacerate on them. And if I get them with it 2 or 3 times, they're probably gonna bleed for about 3,000. They're gonna die, and it's gonna be fun. I like it.
Wow. Wow.
Yep, it's
Just
fun.
so mean.
Yep.
Jeez.
And then like if it's outside of sect and they just die from bleeding, they'll get the death site that doesn't even give you credit for it. It just says they bleed to death, and
Well,
then
that's
nobody
what you
knows you
get.
did it.
That's what you get for killing them with bleeding. That's just
Yeah.
how that's going to work. That's fair. I think that's fair.
Ugh. Well, I just hope I get spirit brain omen someday so I can track people's bleeding.
Somewhere over the rainbow,
Yep.
you'll get your Pranoman.
Probably I'm gonna make a New Year's prediction here. By this date next year in 2022, by 12/30/2022, Spirit Brain Omen will exist in the game and I will be using it.
All right, are we taking bets? Are we gambling here?
Sure.
Because
I don't usually gamble at all, but I will make bets with you here.
you don't drink, you don't gamble. What
Nope.
kind of fun do you have?
Play Aetolia and I drink caffeine on occasion.
On occasion, not
Yep.
even all the time.
Not all the time. Sometimes I drink water. Sometimes I'm good and I drink water.
Well,
But
I do still drink water. I actually, you can't see my camera, but I'm on mine with camera. I have this water bottle. It is 20 ounces. I usually drink at least two of
I
those. I
see
know
you
I'm supposed to
now.
have three. Yeah, I drink this twice a day.
Uh huh.
And then I have additional drinks on top of that. So I do drink water, and then I absolutely have this coffee today, right now. Oh, my big coffee cup. And then this is my morning coffee that I put protein powder in. This is my breakfast.
Well, there you go.
So I have plenty of caffeine. This should have been a decaf. I totally didn't do a decaf. Am I regretting that? Yes, because I am way too damn hyper.
Good grief. Man, what is your critical rate? Look at you. You just keep critting. I mean, I am too, but like you seem to be critting even
Uh,
more than me.
I did eat a Grimstem, so I'm at 61 and some change
Oh, okay.
percent.
That's
I don't
around what I
have
have.
It's like I don't have a the highest crit thing. I only have level 2, as
I
you know.
also
I
have
do.
level 2
Yeah.
of that.
And I'm in Zealot. Zealot, that's the reason why I use it is I have the 2 hits, so I have a good chance of
Hmm.
critting, and I do have a, pretty decent rate of critting. Like
Yeah,
it's
Seremus, we
pretty good.
also both have the +5 crits from Compendium. So,
Oh,
I,
yeah, yeah, yeah. I have Compendium going. I have Grimstem, and then I have my yeah, my +2 from the Arty. I should just go get the +3 just in
yeah,
spite of you. I should do it right now just
wow.
so I can have a higher
I mean,
percentage than
you
you.
could and it would help you. I mean,
But I can't, I never can rationalize it. It's like, do I really need to crit that much more? It's going to be like what?
well,
Another percent?
it's 2% more. I'm pretty sure.
Ooh, a whole 2 freaking
Listen,
percent.
and the level 4 exists, but only as like a special artifact auction when you
Well,
could
yeah, it's
save
like
for that.
I don't want to save for that because last time the only thing that I ended up getting from the special artifact card is got my market stall, and now I regret getting that market stall, so I am not getting something that big again.
Well, I was the one that won the bow bundle on the last one, the bow of the hunt, and it
Oh,
came with the
right.
quiver and the serrated rune, the new rune, which also is kind of garbage, by the way, but it was still cool to have it, and I like that I have a bow that never decays, um, and I like being able to shoot Seremus at lessers or other people.
I have the boomerang now. I'm looking forward to trying out. I ended up getting that from one of the stockings, so I haven't gotten to try it out yet.
believe it or not, I have, even though it's probably weird, I have actually been in shapeshifter class and shot people with a bow. So
No, I've done it before. I have legit. I forgot that I was in the class though. I thought it was back in the day, and I had SISM. That was actually a class I was playing primary. So I forgot I was in shapeshifter and pulled out my bow and went to go shoot. I'm like, oh yeah, I am in a shapeshifter. I can't really do that. So
well, it's
so
funny to me
PG.
because you can't really wield weapons as a shapeshifter, like it won't let you do things with weapons, but like you can use
Yeah.
a bow and shoot arrows. But
Well,
I mean, that's
you
fine.
don't you have to wield it?
Yeah. You
So
wield
you
the bow
can't
and
do
then shoot.
anything. You can't do anything else though.
I know. But I'm just saying
Okay.
like it's weird to me cuz like one thing I've always wanted to do is use shatter in weaponry with shapeshifter. Wouldn't that be fun?
Didn't
But
you
you
technically?
can't do that though. I've already tried. It won't let you.
That is random. You would think it would let you still do it since it's in weaponry.
Well,
Which,
the
by the way, I don't have it trans still, and I just realized it today. Just
oh,
random note there. One of the few things I don't have transed out.
well, the problem with letting shapeshifters use shatter would be that they could like instantly mangle you in one whole prompt, like on a single
Yeah,
limb.
but then they gotta unwield, so they're losing that balance. And then by the time that you get back to it, you
Well,
may have already recovered some of that damage. So I don't know
the
that it
thing
would make much
is,
difference.
if you were able to use like a warhammer and you could shatter somebody and then instantly mangle them in the same prompt, and then also in the same prompt you can also use baying forceful to knock them over.
Mm,
They're probably not standing up for a good 8 to 10 seconds.
that is true. That is a good point. That's a good point.
But I can understand why it doesn't work. But like I was like, man, can I do this? And then I tried it one time and it just they'd already made it to where you can't do it. It says
Yeah.
something about you can't use something or other inside your gigantic paws or something like that when you try
Yeah.
to do it. So
Nice.
yeah. One thing you can do though that I've discovered and I was talking about with Benedicto about a year and a half ago when I had Monk initially is
Mhm.
that monks can actually use Cobra Stance and use Shatter and weaponry. Uh,
Huh.
yeah, so you can if you do it with them from where you can shatter and then immediately kick twice or whatever it is, you can
Mhm.
do like 66 something or more percent limb damage on a single limb in one prompt. But you're off balance for like a really long time.
But
Um,
still,
yeah,
I had actually been thinking of suggesting, just because, Centauri, etc., of the potential of making some sort of special thing where we could be a weapon monk class, which would be
right.
cool. So
I
I
agree.
like this idea. I like this idea. That'd be really cool.
One thing I noticed with it too, and this again is it would be very, like you could probably use it on someone once and they before they understood what happened, but
Yeah.
you can also mind lock somebody and black them out and then do what I just described in one prompt while they're still blacked out.
Yeah,
So,
that's what that was used to be the cheese that people would do for limb damage in general, was just black you out and then punch, 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 punch. And I'm like, guys, why? We can go back and just check our wounds. It's fine. It's
yeah.
okay.
But I used to love to play monk on Empyrean. Like there was so many things that like they've fixed them now over the years on both games, but like there used to be things you could do like you could start channeling Kai Deliverance, and then before it came up, you could like jump kick someone, and then it would come up when you like entered the room from the jump kick.
Oh yeah, no, I
You can't do
remember
that
your
anymore.
ass doing that shit
Yep,
all the damn
it
time.
was
Like,
so
you
fun.
motherfucker,
Yeah,
you motherfucker, and you weren't the only one that would do it though.
yeah,
There was
yeah,
a
yeah,
bunch of people that were doing it. I'm like, I hate you all. I just hate you because you can't tell until you jump into the room and
yeah,
like, okay, they're in the room, hit them, and then
yeah. And then
immediately you're
Deliverance
dead.
pops up and just kills everyone. Like it
Oh,
was so fun. Like
it's like spirit bombing people or fire bombing
yeah.
people. It's the same kind of thing. It's just like, guys, no, please,
Oh god, it was
why?
so good. And then there's all these times because like back in the day, nobody had curing really, except
Yeah.
for certain people that
Well,
made it themselves.
we had the MB core. We had that. That was pretty much what
Yeah,
anyone had, is they had
Mudbot,
that. Yeah.
White's Mudbot. But even
Yeah.
before that existed, we all had like there was people that had manual curing, like
Oh
on their
yeah,
macros and
no.
stuff. So
I absolutely, in Atolia and Imperium both. That is absolutely what I had. And I had luckily transported from Achaea my old an old alias. that was for priest, which is why I played priest so often, so I could pretty much wipe all my afflictions in one alien.
Right.
I miss
Do
priest.
you remember the priest or cleric class in Empyrean that had the thing where like it could take all the afflictions you had on yourself and put them on your opponent? You remember that? You remember that?
Yeah.
That was
Yes, I
so
do.
trolly. Like that got me so many times. That
Well, there's
dude.
a bunch of different classes that actually have something similar to that that no one uses, and I'm like, why not? I actually have it in one of my monk aliases for the push, the mind push one. I actually
Okay.
have it in there, so if you're at a certain amount of afflictions, it'll mind push to the target.
Yeah, like
um, it'd be nice to do
the
that.
I feel like there was like, and I don't think abilities on Empyrean even had cooldowns. They just like cost a lot of mana or something. But
Yeah, most for the most part, most of them were just big mana drainers. Yeah.
anytime I used to fight that dude, I don't know if he plays Aetolia or any other Iron Realms game, but the guy that was called Draven, you remember Draven on Empyrean?
Oh, I remember Draven had very many characters that had relationships with that guy.
Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know who
Yeah.
he is or anything anymore, but like,
He doesn't he didn't as far as I know, he never actually came over to Atolia. I think he was just pretty much either an Achaean or playing Empyrean. And
gotcha.
he showed up a couple of times in Empyrean when I've been logged in, but I don't know that he plays anymore.
Yeah. But like I used to fight him a lot and like I there's times where I'd get him real fast, but then there's other times where he'd just let me hit him and then he'd put all my afflictions on me and it was real annoying and like it's just all kinds of fun. Like I used to love playing the Indorani class on that game. That was my jam before they changed it completely. That class was a lot of fun.
I
Just,
remember which one was the Indorana class over there.
it was Noctusari, and then they
Right,
later
right.
they called it Summoner.
Yeah.
It was a lot of fun before they drastically changed it and or nerfed it into not being as fun.
Well, it kind of needed a nerf. It kind of
Well,
needed a
you know
nerf. I
what?
mean, Juga, whatever his name was, kind of
Juggernauthean? Yeah.
yeah, he kind of ruined it for people pretty bad.
Well, you know. And then I
Um,
ruined him because he like quit forever and then came back and then I used to go kill him and A10 when they were teaming up and I had two artifacts and I'd go there and just attack them and then if they got, I'd reset a lot back then. I would just pathfinder out when I was about to die and then I would go back and attack them again.
so
Yeah.
you're resetting, are you?
Yeah, I was resetting back then. Back
Hmm.
before it was called resetting. That people used to
Oh,
hate how Pathfinder worked. It was instant and unstoppable. I don't know if
oh,
that's
people
how it
still
is on
have
Aetolia
Pathfinder.
is, but
Yeah, people still hate Pathfinder, but that's the one thing is people just need to like realize go when you have a summoner if you're it's mostly annoying for like group situations where there's raiding and whatnot going on. They're usually
mhm,
using it to come raid into the city. It's just like
yeah,
make it your priority, bring some orb sigils and destroy the damn thing,
you're
and then
right.
they're screwed. They
They
can't
would
use it
hardly
again
ever
unless they
do
come
that.
back. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, and that was the issue when we were having some of the raids going on, is people weren't going and destroying the Pathfinder. I'm like, dude, guys, Orb Sigil, make that your priority before you do anything else for attacking them. Just have at least one or two people kill the damn Pathfinder, and that way they can't Pathfind back into that room, and then go put down monos and everything else. Put all those back down, cube Sigils, and it'll be fine. They
and
can't do it again.
the doppelganger on Empyrean was a lot different than it is on Aetolia. Like you could strip cloak with it and stuff. So like if people AFK'd in their city and I wanted to go kill them, I could just like Blackwind go into some unguarded room and like while they're AFK just strip their cloak and then brazier them and kill them.
That used to actually still be a thing in Atolia too at one point, but then they changed how
Yeah.
Doppy works.
Yep. And now I feel like Terradrim kind of have that ranged cloak strip, I think, but it's only like within sand or whatever.
Yeah. And actually, I feel like you could technically no. Could you do it? You could do it with Monk. You
Yeah,
could
you kind of
remotely
can.
do it with Monk.
You would just I don't think you can strip specific defenses, but you can just
No.
strip
So
them
you have
all
to keep.
basically.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you basically that's what you're doing is you're just
Yeah.
mind strip, mind strip, mind strip,
Yeah.
mind strip, and if they're AFK, it's hilarious, but it takes forever. But you can eventually do it.
Yeah.
Unless I mean, if they're maintaining it via system, it is definitely difficult. But it is random enough usually that you can eventually get it, but you have to time it very carefully and usually have a backup person to be the person braziering as soon as you strip the cloak because you're going to be off balance before
Yeah.
it actually is before you're able to do it.
And then, of course, there'd be the people who seemed like they were AFK, but they weren't. And they knew what you were doing, and then they'd try to come kill you or get guards, and then you just Pathfinder out and laugh at them. Those were the good
Much
old days.
everything that was happening in recent times with the war is people thought other people were AFK, and it's like, no, we're waiting for you.
Yeah.
We know you're coming for us.
It
We're
was
just waiting.
hilarious when Nipsey tried to kill me and Amy in my shop. I was like, "What is happening here? Like, why?" Because like I didn't even have anything on me either, and Nipsey had no real cause to come and attack me, and just did. And I was like, "Okay, I guess we're fighting now." And it was hilarious because Amy is just so much better at duels than me because they're like all about sect and stuff like that. But like it just so happened that I wasn't AFK, but Amy was, so I like had to fight Nipsey on my own with like one of the best like
Oh,
sect people in there. So I don't know, man. We managed to drive away the evil little gnome. We did it, and then I used his entrails for my Celeste mystery. Hello, Phoenicia. How are you?
that was a great segue there.
Yep,
Great.
I'm glad you enjoyed
I got interest. Hey, Phoenicia, nice to see you.
it. And she just emotes all happy and stuff. I like
Uh,
entrails too. What's up?
oh.
Oh, we're
I w
having fun.
speaking of Pathfinder, by the way, that is probably the one thing that I regret about retiring EON is I had that bangle of returning, and that thing was so OP. I miss that bangle of returning.
Was
It
that
was so
like a
hype.
special artifact or something that only you
It
had?
was. It was one of those stocking ones when they had the specials or whatever. Um, and basically you could set it to any room. You just twisted the band and you set it to that room.
Oh,
So if you twisted it again, you return to that room.
seems fair.
Um, and I can't remember if you had to have a monolith or couldn't have a monolith down or not right off the top of my head. But I'm so glad I got it at the time because Fezzik wanted it really bad, and he was going to use it for raiding if he had gotten it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and exactly fair. That's why I can't retire Ririn at this point is because I have built up so many unique things that I'm like, I am not doing that to myself again. I am not going to lose all of the shit that I've built up. So, as much as I sometimes get frustrated with playing on Spirit and all the other stuff and get tempted to go back to playing Shadow, I can't retire. It's not going to be worth it at all.
Right. I will never retire a character again either. Because I know
I only
myself.
retired the one.
Well, yeah, I only retired the one, and that was enough for me because in the end, I ended up losing all kinds of value because I retired him to Listernia, quit playing Listernia,
Ooh.
then retired him back onto this character like years later. So what was the point of even doing it? I just lost value. Like it was kind of a waste
Yeah.
for me. So I'll never do it
Um
again. Never. Never,
uh,
never.
imagine me and how many times I've retired.
Well, I mean, I'm not going to judge you for that. I just think that in my case, I did it one time. I seen the way I reacted to it eventually, and I don't think
Yeah.
it's in the cards for me to have any benefit of doing again. So,
No, I just like to make a joke of myself, honestly, for the amount of times I did it. I will say that I don't really regret anyone except for maybe Eowyn. All the rest, I had very good reasons between just being sick of players on that side, needing to start fresh, storyline being done, or harassment issues, those sorts of things. I definitely had really good reasons for just about everyone.
right,
Eowyn was the only one that I was legitimately so sick of how Spirit side acted with the war and well in Shadow too, but how Spirit had acted for their side of the war that had been going on. That I was like, yeah, no, I think I'm done for a while. I'm gonna go take a breather
yeah.
and just went and retired.
Well,
But
I still think no matter who you are, breaks are important from this game. And
they are very very
I've
important.
even talked to this out of character tells to Riot recently. I was like, man, if you're just because he was telling me he's like, well, I don't want to tell too much of what he said, but essentially he was like, just he's basically not been doing much lately on Aetolia, and he just does things with his minds.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, man, it sounds to me like you should take a break, you know. But he said, if I take a break, I'm probably not coming back, and I'm just like, that just. I don't know, man. I think taking breaks are important for everyone because absence really does make the heart fonder in a lot of things in life in general. So
Oh
I
no,
just
I do get his side of it. I honestly, uh, I have complicated feelings with it, but the last break that I took, the one that took me off for a month recently, I really could have stayed away, but I just didn't have anything else to do. That was the unfortunate thing for me, and I tried. I tried to find other games to play. I tried to just find other things to fill my time, and I just didn't have anything that really did that. And luckily, I've come back, and it's been a good situation. I've
yeah.
actually had a lot of fun since I came back, but stepping away sometimes just is what happens. I've definitely done it before. Solaria, I quit back after I had some issues with a player back in what was it like 2009 or something, 2008. It was really early, long time ago. And I think I stayed away for like 2-3 years or something. I can't even remember. But then I did come back and played, and it was all good. But it really does depend on, like Fo was saying here, it does depend on what you're doing and where you are in life.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can just absolutely, if you're just, if you log off one day and decide not to log back in, you may be good. You may
Yeah.
not feel anything. And then just randomly, you know, way later, you may feel something, but you may just still just be like, it's a little blip. I'm not going to bother. So it does vary from person to person. Sometimes
Yeah.
you'll come back, and then sometimes, like a good number of players we've seen kind of trickle off over the years, they don't come back. And I am happy for people that don't come back. You know why? This game is a damn addiction. It really is. That's the
Yeah.
frank point. Is any of these games are an addiction. So if someone breaks the habit and they find something better in life, I am so happy for them. And if this is their life, that's cool too. No worries. Not
Yeah.
my I'm not judging. Obviously, I have a problem. I'm doing it. I enjoy it. It's my hobby.
Yeah.
But for people that can get out of it, and if they are
There's
healthier and enjoying life better, fuck yeah, that's fantastic.
there's definitely worse hobbies to have, and I would say as somebody that
Yeah.
used to own a gaming store, Magic and Warhammer and all that, there's way more expensive hobbies to have too, if you can believe it.
Oh,
I know that this game
you can't say that to me with how much I spent.
listen, I know, but like I've seen people spend even more on certain other games. Like
Oh,
just
yeah, that actually you're not wrong because folks even bringing it up about D&D. There are definitely some things that are going to be more costly, and there are some hobbies that are involving general video games that can definitely be more expensive. My brother-in-law collects old systems, and he gets some of the really obscure ones. So he's got like a Famicom and a bunch of other Japanese ones, and some of the games associated. He's actually got a what do you call it, arcade machine and all this other stuff. So sometimes there are hobbies like that that definitely could be more expensive. Little figurines, I hear, can be very expensive.
yeah.
Um, so
Yep.
yeah, there could definitely be more expensive
Listen,
things.
so check this out. Now I don't know if you've ever gotten into Warhammer or like tabletop wargaming stuff, but that's the stuff I'm talking about. Like there's
Uh,
people who will dump $600 to $1,000 all at once into getting like the perfect army in Warhammer, like all painted ahead of time, or they'll buy all the stuff and paint it themselves, and that's their hobby, and they do that. But then there's like a bunch of different armies in that game you can buy, and you can just dump more money into it, and like just it's insane. And then every year, just about Warhammer will put out a new core book that you have to buy to have the new rules and the lore and everything. So
yeah,
it's like I'm saying there are more expensive things out there than Aetolia. And what I love about Aetolia is that yes, I've spent a lot of well, probably not as much as you have into your character, but I've spent for me quite a bit. I've spent more into this character than I have on any other thing in Iron Realms. And I like that I could take a break from it, come back 9 months later, and then still be like super effective and feel like I don't need like I didn't spend any money this whole year for like 6 7 months until stockings. Like,
yeah,
and I didn't really spend any money in Aetolia and enjoyed it and had a blast. Whereas, like, if I went back to playing World of Warcraft, you got to pay that 15 a month. Like I feel like when you invest money in Aetolia, you can come back to it and feel like your investment isn't wasted. And I like
yeah.
that
No,
about it.
you've got a very good point there. I will say, if the game ever goes away, you're not going
Right.
to feel the
Well,
same anymore.
yeah.
But for
True.
right now, no, you're absolutely right. I mean, you can at this point, I've spent enough that realistically I could stop spending and I would be okay and it would be fine.
Right.
Because I have a decent investment, I could come back. The big thing is obviously having to go back and update systems and things like that. But as far as like the money investment, you're not wrong there. Once you invest it and as long as especially if you're investing it well into the different aspects
Right.
that you want to do, it's not exactly going anywhere unless the game actually goes away. So yeah, you're not wrong. Those figurines, they may become invalid at some point. You never know.
Well, in Warhammer they typically don't, but it's like if
Oh, they don't in
nobody
Warhammer. Okay.
well, the thing is just like any other game, if nobody's around to play it with you, what does it mean? You know?
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, that's where I am in Atolia. It's like that's why I'm just bashing. I don't really have much else to do.
Yeah.
But that's my lame boring person
I
story.
wish I wish you would stop asking if you can come to Lessers and just come to Lessers with us.
Who, me?
Yes.
I go to Lessers. I don't ask.
You do. You're like, "Oh, do you guys have enough people for that?" And I'm like,
Oh, well, no, that's a whole different thing. So when I'm asking that, I am asking because if there are enough people, I don't want to go pile on more people. I want it to be fair to both sides so that the other side actually wants to come fight. If we have a pile on of like 15 unnecessary people to their like 5 people, why am I going to go add another person? There's no need in that. I don't need the reward
"Yeah, but
point. So
I've seen it to where we've had situations like that, and then they do come back with like 5 more people than we have." So it's
if
like,
that happens, then I'm going to come back and come help do things. That's fine. But at the time, most of the time, I'm not needed at that moment. It's
I
usually
don't
got
know.
a decent enough group. So
I
I'm
feel
not
like
going to
you're
go
always
pile on.
needed. Everybody's
You,
always needed.
not everyone's needed. And
Yes,
I
they
do
are.
the same thing when I play my shadow character. I do the same thing if they have enough bodies and it's an equal enough fight as far as artifact and people comparison, that I'm not going to go because I don't necessarily need to go add another body to that. Now, if I want the XP and there's actually fights going on, I may go regardless because I want that XP. But usually I try to stay out just for fairness. That's
Ma-
my big thing. It's just being fair in the game. And because I know over the years I have been a bitch, I have been a dick, I have been a terrible player at times. I'm trying to make sure I'm keeping to being a better person, just
Okay.
generally, and trying to
Well,
make sure everyone gets to enjoy the game as best as they can without me fucking it up for them.
so you might say that it's kind of silly when, I'm going to a major foci and I'm with our like 10 to 15 man group, and you know, I break off from the group right as we're about to go in and fight them, and then all of a sudden I'm standing there by myself, and then all of a sudden 5 of them come attack me by myself. That's not very fun either, is it?
It's not, but it's funny.
Oh, is it funny? Okay.
Yeah, that's your I'm gonna say this in the meanest, nicest way I can possibly say it. That's your downfall for not going inside.
No, like that's the whole point. You do that so that they don't like single you out like predictably. It's a tactic, and then but like it just makes no sense to me that they're like, "Haha, we got you 5-on-1 while the rest of your team got slaughtered because they were missing 5 people." But I don't know. I guess people really enjoy killing me. I don't know.
I mean, it is pretty damn fun.
I hate you.
I know you do. It's fine. I'm just gonna come do that now. I'm gonna go track you
No,
down,
you're
and
not.
I'm just gonna squish you. I'm gonna start a war of Anorian.
Oh no.
Duran and Anorian gonna have a war because I killed Eric's for no reason other than he looked at me funny.
Right. Let's do it. This
Let's
is
do
this
it.
this is
Yeah.
prime time metagaming roleplay here. This is like stream sniping at its finest.
It is.
My own ally is going to come stream snipe me and kill me for no reason other than they said so out of character. This will be
Woe
great.
is me. Woe is me. I am so treated poorly.
Listen, I don't understand why some people make certain decisions at lessers and majors that make no
Yeah.
tactical sense, and it just seems like they're trolling me sometimes.
Well, I mean, they probably are, and trolling is kind of a part of things. And
Okay.
sometimes it's fun, and sometimes it's not.
Okay.
Okay. I
Okay.
can hear you kind of
Okay.
pouting on that side. You
I'm
good? You
not pouting. You leave me alone.
good? Ah, why do you have me on the stream? You know how this works with me. I
Do
am
I?
not going to leave you alone. Yes, we've known each other for a long enough time.
Okay.
And yes, Fo, that is a very appropriate little graphic there. Yes, let's go kill him. Let's do it. Come
Oh my
on, you
god.
come with me. We will go do things. That'll be fantastic.
Oh no. She
Aw,
probably
Dee Dee with
could
the
kill me.
firepower.
She has you know. Oh god, Seremus chimes in and says yes as well.
Wait, Eric,
No.
are you trying to say that I couldn't kill you?
I don't know. Maybe you could. I'd
About to say,
probably let you.
about to say, it's like, do you want to take on that challenge?
I've got a bow. I hear he wants to shoot me. Yeah, you know what would be fun, Seremus? We just shoot each other until one of us dies. See if it
You know
works.
what? I've done that shit before in Empyrean. Me and some of my friends were really, really bored. And we were in the version of Citizen class there. And we're like, you know what? Let's just shoot each other and see who dies first. And it literally, I feel like took us probably a half hour to manage it. But eventually one of us died. I feel like someone snuck in a Vora arrow or
Oh,
something,
okay.
and that's what ended up doing it. We started adding more and more intense things in there. And
Gotcha.
it was hilarious. It was the funniest shit we had done. I feel like we might have also potentially been a little bit drunk. There's a very good chance of that because we had some good old Skype calls and drinking and fun times back in those days.
Listen, my 7K plus health doesn't matter, and you know it, Seremus.
Your 7K health, is that really all you've got?
I don't have a blessing.
But still, you have chocolates and stuff, right?
I do. I've got 20 con. I don't have 21 con, and I don't have the health buff right now from the eggnog. So
I
it's
don't have the
okay.
eggnog. I never drink my eggnog. I forget every single damn time.
I
I've
just
got my
recently bought it.
I've got my 21 con. I've got enhanced 2,
Oh hey,
and
we have
I am
noon.
at 8. I have 8900 health.
Okay. Well, I have 7600 somehow. But anyway, we
I
also
was
have
wondering,
21
it's like, how
stats
are
right now.
you? Well, yeah, I had 21 stats. That's why I'm wondering. I'm like, how is your stat low? I
Oh,
guess I do have all medics.
I'm not using strawberry either.
Okay. Which one is strawberry? I just eat all of them.
It gives you health and mana, max health and mana.
Okay. Then yeah, I've got all of those going, so that's probably helping.
I don't think that the extra 1,000 or so health really matters to me when I'm doing Takana. It doesn't. So I just don't bother buying it.
Oh, my sweet summer child. My sweet, sweet summer child. That is not true. That 1000 health definitely on Takana can make a difference.
But
It's sad, but it can.
I
Because those
mean,
things hit for like anywhere between just as these, simple like 1k damage or as high as like 5k
well,
sometimes.
I've also got field plate and you don't.
That doesn't help. Like, what is your audit? What is your audit? Seriously.
I don't have a blessing, so it's lower than normal, but it's 52
Okay.
cutting.
52 cutting. I have 41 cutting, 51 blunt.
Well, there you go.
So it's not that much of a difference.
Well, I'm probably gonna die here.
Well,
Nice knowing me.
nice knowing you. Rip.
No.
GG. All
Nah,
those
actually,
things.
I'm good.
Okay.
Ah, yes, there. I got to kill one of them before the other came into the room. There, I'm good now. Stupid volcano.
Are you cheering, Fo? Are you cheering on for him to die or for the things he's killing to die? The curious minds wish to know.
Why not both?
Why not both? That's going to be my reaction. Is why not both? This is amazing. Yeah, who knows? I think that's the best response is why not? It's as close as I'm going to get to why not both. I'm going to say, why not both? I'm going to be that gif right there.
Yep.
Why not both?
I'm not going to bother attacking a lava demon when there's 2 in the room.
Yeah, that's not a good plan.
So I'm going to move on and see what we got. There's one.
Man, I don't even know why, but I randomly got the tequila song stuck in my head.
Oh, well, you could sing it for us. That'd be fun.
You want me to do that? Really?
Well, why not?
It's not even singing. It's just da 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 da.
There you go.
Da 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 da.
Oh my god, look at all those mobs in the same room. 3 glowing lava demons, 2 large fire elementals, and 2 lava demons.
You gonna die.
I'm not going in that room. Yeah, I'm just not going in that room.
Well, you don't like a challenge, do you?
I'm definitely no Mazion and no Jin. I don't have that many artifacts.
You blipped out.
Too bad.
Who bad?
Too bad.
Oh, hey, they set a date for the Waterfire Festival.
Cool.
And it's before I go out of town. Yay.
Cool. I've only been to one of those ever.
I have been to three. three. First one was when Saber proposed to Ren. Second one, I don't remember what that was. And third one was when Damario gave Ren the wings, I feel like.
Mm. You know,
Yeah.
you know what Demariel's given me? Nothing.
Nothing.
Absolutely nothing.
I knew that complaint was coming. I knew it. I knew it. I knew it.
Well, it's true. I mean, I guess he's given me
He's
wink.
giving you. He's giving you it. He's put you in the order. Isn't that enough?
Actually, he didn't. Alali did, but
Oh.
you know, um, he has given me words of encouragement. That is nice.
Oh, how sweet. I'm still waiting for him to come, like,
It's not quite
take
wings,
back the
but
shackles.
you know.
Well, the wings was a reward for an order task that was done.
Mm-hmm.
I think that yeah, it was just an order task. So it was something specifically I had to go do, and that was a reward. So it wasn't just because I existed kind of thing. I actually had to do work to get it.
Mm-hmm.
Just so you don't think it's like special treatment or anything.
No, I don't. I listen. I found out a long time ago, and I'm not trying to be a jerk about this, but I found out a long time ago in this character that it does not matter what you do in an order. It's just whether they like you or not. That's how I feel about it. And once I understood that, because like to me, when I made this character, I didn't realize that's just generally how it is. Like I thought it was. I just thought that orders were going to be very like you do things and you do this and you actually get rewards, kind of like how cities and guilds are and stuff. But I
Mm-hmm.
don't feel like that's how they are, and that's okay for them to be that way. It's just I didn't understand that initially. Um, at least that's the way I look at it, and it's okay living with it now. I understand that I'm owed nothing in an order, but that also means there's no reason to quit the order randomly either. I might as well just be along for the ride and see what happens. That's the way I look at it now.
Yeah. I will say that most of the time, it's not a matter of liking alone. It's usually multi-layered between amount of effort that's being seen and interactivity in the order, um, and just several factors there, not just alone. I mean, there may be, not gonna lie, there may be some that do it just based off if they like you or not, but usually it's multi-layered there, where there's several things taken into consideration besides just general, obviously, gameplay and if you're on the same at the same time kind of situation. I
Mm-hmm.
ran into that issue a lot with some of the players between behind like Sliff and Chakrasol. I just did not log in at the same time as them, so there was never an opportunity to really role play or get that interactivity or get any real progression because of the fact that I just wasn't on when they were, which is the part that sucks the worst. Is when you are in times where you just can't be on at the same time. That really does not help anything.
Yep. Oh yeah, and I'm trying to not die to these things. There's so many elementals all in the same room in the volcano. Uh,
Keep
okay.
doing it.
What
I don't
what I
quit.
think's bizarre is like in the volcano here is like there's random like elementals that are aggro and random ones that aren't, even though they're the same type. Like I don't understand that, but
Well, that's done in a couple of areas. Fengard, trying to think. There's in Vortex, in Tien,
yeah,
Takana. There's a lot of places that actually do that. Like in Tien, technically there's corruptors that are both aggro and not.
yeah.
Um in Fengard, the Fencaries and something else, Argables. Some of those are aggro and some of them aren't. Vortex, some of the demons specifically.
Right. I
Yeah,
know
so
that there's that random gremlin that's aggro in Vortex, and none of the other ones are.
there's actually a third of the demons in Vortex are aggro. Or something like that. I had given it a decent number to
Yeah.
be
I'm not trying to
aggro.
call your areas out on anything. I didn't
No,
mean
no,
that.
no, no. I was actually trying to think of it. I'm like, how many did I put in there? It was to make it so it was kind of a you had to somewhat pay attention to
Right.
the zone because most of it's not aggro.
Yeah.
Plus, it also with the way the formula worked at the time, the things that had aggro on them actually give you a little bit, or back in the day, used to give you a little bit more experience
Right.
than the ones that didn't have aggro. So it was also to give a little bit of a bonus of experience.
Yeah.
And
killing
you're fine to call out
lobotomies.
my areas. I give no shits. The only thing that I will not discuss too heavily is that event with Bemathis and Skythrone. That's one thing I don't want to get
Yeah.
into.
Well, we don't have to, but that was. I didn't hate that event, but it definitely affected my character even now. So,
Yeah. Do you not have auto pickup of corpses turned on?
I
Who
do,
are
I,
you?
I do, but I'm not. I don't have Sunder's Go area on. I'm just going to the rooms and starting the auto
No,
bashing.
I'm saying there's a config in the game.
Well, what it was is the fire elementals explode and they leave a corpse, but they also push you out of the room when they explode. So
Oh, well, it still should auto pickup, I would think. That's weird.
that's okay. Why you
Okay.
paying such huge attention to what I'm doing?
Because I'm bored of my bashing. It's just running on the other screen. I'm in Zanhall right now, so.
Okay, you're enjoying the potential for me to die to these things, is what you're saying.
Exactly.
Okay,
Yes, yes. I am waiting for you to die.
I'm not going to. I'm
Mm.
almost done with the volcano now. Look at that.
I should go in there and try to find any aggro and drag them to you.
You,
That should be the way that I kill you.
the old school
The
EverQuest
old
way.
school, yes, the old
Yeah,
school way. Just go find a bunch of things and just
yeah.
drag them right into you.
That
That'd
used to
be
be
good.
back in the day. People would do that on EverQuest. They'd like bring whole trains of mobs, is what they called them, where they go deep into the zone and then like hold aggro, and they would just kill you whenever they came through. Like those are the good old days of the internet. I'm going to leave some of these rooms because there's too many in there. Oh, some of these came out, so that's good. Kill them.
Excuse me.
I've gained like 20% since I've been on today. That's kind of cool.
Nice. Let's see. How much have I gained? I have gained probably about 40 million now. I'm at 82% through my level. I think I was at 70% or close to it. I was very close to 70%.
Yeah, when I started last night, I was at my previous level and I think it was 42 million of my level, and then my level was 74 million, so that was 20. That was what 28 plus 4, 32 million. I guess I gained last night between last night and 4 hours, and then a few hours today, plus the
God,
11 million.
I forgot how low million those levels are.
Listen, 70, 74
No, I'm
million,
just
78 million now.
oh, oh jeez. 74 million. I have to do 293 million.
Yeah, yeah.
I just it's hard for me to remember those levels now because it's been months ago since the last time I was down in the 160s because I took a couple of breaks from doing it. At one point I kind of got discouraged by another person that was just being kind of nasty about them doing it, and then the
Uh,
recent time I quit.
I
Yeah.
powered through the aggro volcano mobs, and I got lucky. I also
Yeah.
used my horn.
I was about to say it looks like you're still having a little bit of a rough time there.
I'm okay. This thing has
Okay.
nothing on me.
Okay, if you say
Look at
so.
that. Look at that. I have your OP relic that you can make from your area. And use outside of your area. The charms. It
Oh
protected
yeah.
me. Yeah.
I forget about using the charms every
I do
time.
too. I
I
remembered
have
earlier
enough of
today for
them.
the first time in a while. Me too. I have like a bazillion of them assembled. But they're great. Like they will save your ass in a pinch, I've
They
noticed.
really will. They really will. There's the Healy one and the Shield one.
Yep, those are the ones I'm using, and they last a really long time. And you know what? I think they also. Oh, I was gonna say I think they work in PvP, but I think that's wrong. But I know that they.
No, they are specifically for NPCs, so
Yeah,
they shouldn't work in PvP.
they are definitely great for doing things that are difficult, like the volcano. All right, man. I'm about to clear out the volcano. This is gonna be fun.
Ooh, go you! Yay!
Yeah, power bashing the volcano. It'd be prime time for people from Shadow to stream snipe me and kill me while I'm attacking fire elementals.
I'm actually just gonna check in with my husband since
Do
we're
it.
gonna go see Sing 2 at 6. So I
Mm.
need to figure out what time we want to leave and if we need to eat before the movie or if we're just gonna try to have a late dinner
Oh, I
after.
might die here. Nope.
Oh,
Never
oh,
mind. Never
die,
mind.
die, die.
No.
Damn it.
No.
Damn it.
Sorry.
This is all my
Ah!
excitement now. Oh, oh, oh,
Nope.
so
Nope.
close.
Nope.
Ah!
Yep.
Stop disappointing me.
They
Die.
they didn't come into the room at the same time, which means I win. Alright, that was cool. Volcano's done. Sacrifice those
Yay.
corpses.
Oh.
I'm offering to Ome to have any kind of chance to get a blessing sometime before I die in real life.
Yeah, Ome is definitely the one that favors the most. I think Ethne is probably on like holiday vacation because she used to be pretty consistent.
Mm-hmm.
Her's been doing a decent amount, but not as often as Ome. Ome's the best. Moth Mom is best
Yeah.
mom.
Whenever Demario comes around every couple months, he usually gives us like a 10-day one before he leaves again.
That is
So,
true. That is very true. Spirit gods used to bless just all the dang time. They actually still do. Like at least in Duran, we've been having them pretty regularly. I think you guys will probably start seeing them more on Shadows now that Tanny's back around. Tanny's pretty classic about favoring. Jack has just been probably too busy to be able to do it normally.
did you see that awesome art we had made for the pools?
I did, and I forgot to sign the card like a dumbass.
It's okay.
It's like
But
I
it
got
was
busy with work, and I was like, oh yeah, and it's already been shown to them.
it was fine. I thought it was came out a lot better than I even expected. It was really a cool thing. And now that artist has been making individual icons for the Solani for the Discord. So that's kind of cool.
Oh,
Yeah,
that's sweet.
using those characters from that art.
I like that. So that's where Zahea got hers.
Yeah,
Okay.
and Raw.
Rah!
Raw
Rah ah 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 ah.
something like that. I'm killing your basilisks again.
That's fine. I'm still finishing up Sandhall and moving on along.
Yeah, I should probably do my instance again. Let's see here. Yeah, it is off cooldown. We have been talking a while.
We have been. We are at 3 hours
But
now.
Phoenicia,
Hi,
it was
Perk.
this player named Aaliyah is the name of their character. This
Oh, did
person.
she actually do the art? That's so
Yeah.
cool. I saw some of her stuff in Discord recently from her own like RP sessions and stuff. It was pretty amazing.
But yeah, we got them I decided like a few days before Christmas or whatever to approach them, and like they made some art of all the Solani from the pools and all the producers like gather around this table of that has like the map of Sapience on it and stuff. It was really cool, and it has like we got all their descriptions from the hand mirror artifact, and like they made art based on their descriptions for all of them. It was pretty cool. Let me see if the mall is back now. Nope.
Well,
Oh, sort
probably
of.
not. It's like I'm heading into Albados. I really want to try to finish out and get to 83%, and then I'll probably go ahead and stop. Hopefully I can do that with what I can find in Albados.
They are not your basilisks anymore, Kurak. They are mine. I'll see you at the top in the Great Hunt in a couple weeks, buddy.
Yeah, you guys get to do that while I'm gone, so have at it.
I actually, like a giant nerd, like now that I know, like even the last time they did a Great Hunt, I did reasonably well, and I wasn't even planning on like participating. So like I
Mm-hmm.
figure if I actually plan to participate, I might do better this time. So I am planning to participate and decided to take like on Saturdays at the DMV we have 4-day shifts or 4-hour shifts rather, like half
Mm-hmm.
day. I decided to request that off that weekend so that I can spend the entire time bashing.
Woo.
So
Man, I haven't taken a day off for bashing in
I
forever.
don't know that I've ever done it, or if I have, it's been I can't remember. So I'm going to do it
I
this time and try to actually win it. So
I definitely did it one time. I did it with Corja. back when I had Carnifex, and I tried to actually participate. Didn't end up making it very long, so it didn't last. But I tried.
Right. Well, I'm
But
gonna go
I
back to FTEL again.
okay. Yeah, I try not to play during great hunts. I also try not to go bashing during the XP days, and the whole reason is because there's too many damn people. It
Right.
is not going to be worthwhile enough during those times to be able to get scraps. So that is a good time to just take a breather and come back to bashing later.
Yeah, I didn't find it too bad the last Great Hunt. Like I just had my like I kind of had my little loop. Like honestly, a lot of people were not doing FTEL then. Like, and I would do FTEL. I'd do the things in Albedos, do little things in Sapience, and like from where the respawn times were halved, I could usually
Yeah,
like loop them pretty easy.
that
Uh,
is true. The respawn times do help, but even right now, it's just starting to get crowded. And when you start having, you know, 4 to 5 people, even with the respawn rates being higher, doing essentially these same routes in some similar variation, you run out of things. You definitely do.
yeah. Oh
Like
yeah.
right now, I saw you, I saw Karak, I saw Tiani, and now I'm over here, all in Albedos,
Yep.
trying to all bash into
And
essentially this like the same areas roughly. Even though I changed my route up, so I thought it would be better, but apparently not.
yeah, and what's wild to me is before they actually added like Bacall Chasm and the Basilisk Slayer and all that, not a lot of people bashed in Albedos. Like there was only like a couple people that even went there to do anything. And then it's like as
I
soon as
did.
they yeah, I know. I mean, there was some, and I quested there a lot, but like back then, I can remember there hardly ever be anyone else in Albedos when I would quest and stuff. So like, it's hilarious to me. Like they add a couple bashing areas, and now like everyone's there all the time, like constantly. So it's cool.
I
I hope they open more stuff in Albedos. I'd like to see them keep releasing stuff.
Correct says he's one of the bigger hunters, and he really never has any problems. Then why you ice walling people?
Oh yeah,
Don't ice wall people then. It doesn't need to be done.
I actually did that last night. There was no one like following me, but I was like, you know what? I'm gonna be a jerk, and I went in Dramato Warrens, and there was two of the oozes right inside the crevice, and I like ice
Oh,
walled them.
you are a dick. You are the ultimate dick right there. Jeez, man.
Well, it didn't matter. It didn't get anyone, and they can also move through the ice walls, which they did. But I
But
just thought it would be
still,
funny if it got someone, but it didn't.
that's not funny. That's not nice.
I'm a moral
I'm
compass, remember?
I'm gonna talk to you like I would my toddler. That is not nice. We don't do those things to people.
Oh, well, too bad.
Because you're being as bad as a toddler with that. I'm sorry.
Well,
It's true.
if we're not allowed to PK people for taking our mobs, then I guess I'm just gonna put ice walls up with
I
no
mean,
intention at
if
all.
they are if they're bashing over top of you, literally, you have cause. Like if
Mm.
they are literally in the same room of you and bashing over top of you, and people who do this know who I'm talking to right the second, you do have cause to kill them.
Well, there you go.
And you could try to encourage cause by doing that to them. You could bash in their room and see if you can instigate a fight. That is the way that some of these people are doing it for. Like a mall, I know used to do it for that reason, and a couple of others, which I more power to them if you want to do that. But if you're not intending to give people calls, then please, I would recommend not doing that.
Mm. Let me drink some eggnog here. Oh, I got crappy willpower region. Oh well. What else am I missing? Anything? I don't think so. No, back to it here. Feel like some of my experience buffs ran off and I didn't, or wore off and I didn't realize it. Oops. There
All
we go.
right, let's see. Okay, well, here is a good stopping point for now,
Okay.
so that I
Are you
can go
leaving
back.
me?
I am probably going to have to, yes. It sounds
Okay.
like we should be going ahead and figuring out what we're going to do for dinner.
Okay. Well,
But hey, I managed to sit around with you for 3 hours, so
well,
okay.
correct.
Correct. I will say no. Just the ice wall thing was definitely directed at you, and that if it was petty of me, sorry, but it's also petty to be ice walling behind you when other people are bashing. That's
I
just
did
my
it.
thing. Because yes, and Eric's did do it, and I'm just speaking to people in general that do it. It's like, guys, you don't know when if the area doesn't have aggros, it's not a big deal. But if it has aggros, you don't know when one's going to come in or multiple, and then they can't get through that out of that room as easily. It could just make for a mess. So I don't appreciate it personally. But as far as like the people bashing over top of you, that's just you do you. I don't care. I was just saying if you don't want calls, probably
That
shouldn't do it.
actually doesn't even happen as much as you would think, but I've seen it happen a couple times in recent
And
memory.
correct, I'm not saying you did it to me. I'm just saying in general, people who do it. Because I know people used to do it to several players, and to a point where they were trolling them heavily. I feel like there was a time when Jen was going and trying
Oh
to
yeah,
get to end game that people absolutely were doing it to him specifically
right,
just to test and see if he was AFK. Now he wasn't, but they were constantly doing that to him and trying to get him boxed into a room to try to
right.
prove that he was actually AFK. So I'm just not a big encourager of it because it doesn't make gameplay very much fun. It's fine if it's between friends, okay, no problem. But
I also heard that certain people, while I was on my 9-month break, did similar things from our side to our own side as they were trying to bash. So
they did. They did.
that's really unfortunate and sad,
It is. It's like
especially
I
when these people are leaders too that are doing it. So
Yeah, yeah. I'm just gonna leave that one alone.
yeah,
People just people just need to think about, hey, would you want someone to do this to you before they do something? And that's just needs to be like a general rule of thumb in life, I feel like. And yeah, I'm saying I'm pretty forgiving of people bashing over top too. I'm saying there are certain people that have, and I've already explained myself, but people have been doing it deliberately to try to bring calls, and then some people are just not realizing that it can cause, and then end up dying because of it, and it's not fun times.
I know it used to be cause like in Empyrean, but like Empyrean it was very Wild West with the rules anyway. But like I thought for some reason that you couldn't do cause on someone because of that on Atolia. But
You can't you're not supposed to do it a ton of times, but there is some definite leniency that if a person is bashing over top of you, like literally taking your kills and you're trying to claim like territory and stuff, there is some possibilities of being able to have calls for it. Not to say that I have ever done it or that
right,
I would
I don't think
really
I have
encourage
either.
anyone to do it, but I know there are several people that have done it. And in fact, I know of one that kept doing it to someone every time, and I was just like, "Come on, can you just let up on them? Stop being that person."
Yeah,
Because some people just we know this. People aren't nice.
some
Anywho, I
yeah,
can see I can see my husband coming around, and
yep.
we need to go figure out dinner. But hey,
We've
thank you
been
for chatting with me and
yeah. This
taking
was
the punches
fun.
nicely. This was fun.
I thought it was just gonna be me the whole time bashing and listening to music, and then you came in and it was much more interesting. So I'm probably gonna
Woohoo!
go ahead and stop the stream when you're gone too, and we'll get back to playing Aetolia, probably make some dinner, that sort of thing.
Yeah, yeah. Well, you have a good night. And hey, guys, thank you for those that came and listened. Appreciate you coming and hanging out with us. And I definitely was not trying to be a bitch to anyone. Hopefully, you don't take it that way. Apologies if you do. That's just how it goes. But hey, I'll talk to you guys some other time.
See y'all later.
See
Happy
y'all.
holidays. Bye.